This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine, Volume 15 from 1999, and it's packed with game news. The cover story highlights Black Matrix Advanced and also features World Neverland Plus, Oruto Kingdom Story, Soul Calibur, Maken X, Frame Gride, and Dynamite Cop 2, which was known as Die Hard Arcade 2 internationally. Shenmue and D2, the sequel to D, are also mentioned. Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team and Denpa Shonen Teki Kensho Seikatsu Nasubi no Heya, which is related to a popular TV show, are also listed. On the left side, under Dreamcast New Arrival Information, it mentions Climax Landers, EGG, which is likely Evolution, Eternal Dungeons, and ESPIONAGENTS. Below that, under Dreamcast Thorough Strategy Complete Guide, it lists Super Speed Racing, Blue Stinger, Kita E White Illumination, and The House of the Dead 2. There's also a special present offer for an ASC2 mission stick for 30 people. The price of the magazine is 420 yen, and the release date is marked as 5/7. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Web Mystery, The Prophecy Dreamcat Lost Child, a mystery adventure title. The advertisement outlines a scenario where a 28-year-old character named Jinzu Yoshitomo, after a tiring day, discovers a mysterious bar called Maze Castle. Inside, using a computer, he encounters a bizarre website titled Cat's Eyes, which displays a shockingly realistic and disturbing image of a middle-aged man bleeding and collapsing. Published by Mebius, this game seems to delve into a digital mystery theme. The next page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Cat's Eye Diog. This mystery adventure game is set against the backdrop of the internet and involves murder incidents across Japan, Korea, and Hong Kong. It promises a suspenseful and tense experience. The game was released on April 22, 1999, and the suggested retail price is 6,800 yen for the 2 GDROM discs. This page is an advertisement for the Data East Fan Club DDD, seeking first-term members, with free membership for the first 3,000 people. It highlights 10 member benefits, including free membership and annual fee until September 1999 for first-term members, a premium membership card, fan club newsletters issued in June and September, New Year's greetings, TGS limited goods, priority access to fan gatherings, special offers on mail-order goods, pre-release gameplay experiences, and invitations to game shows. There are 3 types of membership cards featuring the games: Revive, Resurrection, Detective Jinguji Saburo, and Magical Drop. The page also advertises a Revive and Magical Drop Super Good Sales and Store Game Tournament event at Messe Sano Akihabara on May 30th at 10 a.m., featuring prizes and limited goods. The next page introduces Revive, Rebirth, a new trap adventure game for the Dreamcast. The game tasks players with escaping a sealed research facility by solving mysteries and disarming traps. The character designs are by animator Yukinori Umetsu. The key feature is the Trap Divergent Story (TDS) system, where the story branches based on how players deal with traps. The game boasts a mysterious scenario enhanced by voice acting, and characters respond to the protagonist's actions based on their emotion levels. The page showcases in-game screenshots and introduces character names like Kasahara Masumi, Takano Raiko, Mizutani Kaori, Hojo Chihiro, Hotaka Yuzuki, and Ogawa Kiharu. The game was published by Data East and priced at 6,800 yen. Revive remained a Japan-exclusive title on the Dreamcast. This page is the contents for the magazine, listing articles and features. It highlights the Sakura Wars Song Show 3, a special Dreamcast feature showcasing anticipated titles like Black Matrix Advanced, World Neverland Plus, Soul Calibur, Maken X, Frame Gride, Dynamite Cop, Shenmue, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team, D2, and King of Fighters Dream Match 1999. There's also Denpa Shonen V show-related content, Dreamcast hot information covering EGG, Time Stalkers, and possibly other titles. The Dreamcast Software Complete Guide features Blue Stinger, Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, House of the Dead 2, Get Base, and Nobunaga's Ambition. A special section is dedicated to Soul Calibur, and another to the ASC2 Mission Stick peripheral with a giveaway. This page is the index for the magazine, outlining the content within. It is divided into Dreamcast and Sega Saturn sections. For Dreamcast, it lists a wide range of game features, including Aerodancing F featuring Blue Impulse, Espionagence, Elemental Gimmick Gear, Key to E, White Illumination, Time Stalkers, Sega Bass Fishing, King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999, The House of the Dead 2, Seaman, Shenmue, Le Mans 24 Hours, Expendable, Soul Calibur, Dynamite Cop, D2, Puyo Puyo 4, Yan, Blue Stinger, Framegride, Black Matrix Advanced, Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, Maken X, and Redline Racers. The Sega Saturn section includes Derby Stallion and Friends, Seishun no Kagayaki, amongst others. Beyond game features, the index points to columns, manga chapters, news sections, game reviews, reader contributions, and articles on Sega development teams, anime news, and even a weekly astrology section for Dreamcast users. There are also articles on creating Dreamcast homepages and a reader gift section. This page announces the start of Sega's Dreamcast Direct Mail Order service from April 27th, allowing gamers to purchase Dreamcast consoles, peripherals, and games directly from Sega. You can order online or by phone. They are offering a special bonus point campaign. The service will initially offer games like Godzilla Generations, Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle, The House of the Dead 2, Super Speed Racing, Blue Stinger, and Get Bass. Future releases in July include Sonic Adventure and Sega 2, and in August, Puyo Puyon is listed. Payment options include credit card, cash on delivery, and bank transfer. Sega is preparing for the September 9th U.S. Dreamcast launch, priced at $199. The company plans a $100 million marketing campaign, aiming for 12 launch titles and 30 by year-end, including sports games. Sega of America's president is confident in the console's success. In related news, Sakura Wars creator Oji Hiroi launched an internet radio show featuring the Sega president, who cited Virtua Racing as inspiration for joining the company and his strong investment in the Dreamcast. A new online flea market service, Hello Goodbye, will utilize web money for transactions, requiring a 2,000 yen seller registration and item listing fees. Finally, the Sakura Wars for Windows release is being celebrated with a giveaway, offering the game and promotional items. The PC version features enhanced graphics, additional content, and minimum specs of a Pentium 133 MHz, 32 MB RAM, and 200 MB hard drive. This page showcases upcoming game news and events. First up is a preview of Tekken Tag Tournament for Dreamcast, emphasizing its tag battle system and the return of characters from Tekken 3 and Tekken 2. More details were promised in the April 23rd issue of the PlayStation Magazine. Next, there's news about the opening of the Human Creative School, a game developer training institution, which is launching a network game course. The opening ceremony featured a special lecture by Mr. Taurioki. An event announcement promotes the official fan club launch for Kira Kira Melody Gakuen, an anime and idol project. The fan club offers benefits like news, priority event access, and merchandise sales, with an inaugural event on April 29th. Finally, the page presents The Legend of Heroes, White Witch, officially released on Windows 95/98 on April 23rd by Nihon Falcom. It highlights the game's appealing visuals, background music, scenario, and CG movies, accompanied by screenshots from the game. This page reveals the announcement of Guilty Gear 2, tentative title. For the Naomi arcade board, the characters were first showcased at a fashion show with a feeler theme, designed by Inaba Kayo. This sequel to the original Guilty Gear promises enhanced visuals and audio thanks to the NAOMI hardware, but will remain a 2D fighting game. The article highlights the return of the instant kill system from the original game, which is briefly explained as a PlayStation title released in 1998 known for this feature. Also featured are new music CD releases from artists like Momono Momoe, Neil with the Autumn Stone, Golden Best Elephant Love, Sex Machine Guns with Mikan no Uta, Nagisa Kanae, and various anime and Digimon theme song collections from artists such as Maeda Ai and Wada Kuji. The Sakura Wars Song Show 3, themed Feelings of That Summer Are Back Again, was announced for August 4-7, 1999 at the Tokyo Kosei Nenkin Kaikan. A press conference on April 14th at Tokyo Hiyoshi Hall revealed details and featured comments from key figures. Producer Ohiji Hiroi aimed for a more spectacular show with original songs. Composer Kohei Tanaka prepared 10 new songs. Cast members Chisa Yokoyama, Yuriko Fuchizaki, Mayumi Tanaka, Ai Orikasa, Tomoe, Satomi Tomizawa, Kana Kuda, and Akira Tayo expressed their excitement and commitment to making the show a success. The show's title was revealed as Red Lizard, Benitoke. Sega's full support was noted, and the conference was a lively event, reflecting the spirit of Sakura Wars. This page announces the release of the new song, This Is the Review, from the musical stage show, Yuta Gassen Show 3. The CD single, featuring This Is the Review and Fierce, Imperial Assault Force, Revised, will be released on June 2nd for 1,050 yen. The performers for This Is the Review include Chisa Yokoyama, Michi Tomizawa, and Ura Takano, among others. Fierce, Imperial Assault Force, Revised, is performed by Kumiko Nishihara, Yuriko Fuchizaki, and Mayumi Tanaka, with others. The announcement event featured a mini-concert with performances of popular songs from the show, such as Love is Diamond, Because of Love, Wings, and Fierce. Imperial Assault Force, Revised. General ticket sales for the Yuta Gassen Show 3 performances in August will start on June 2nd. Performances are scheduled from August 4th to August 7th, with shows at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. each day, except August 4th, which is only at 6 p.m., and August 7th, which is only at 1 p.m. Tickets are priced at 6,000 yen for S seats and 5,000 yen for A seats. Contact Kyoto Tokyo for ticket inquiries. This page highlights the upcoming Sakura Wars musical show and related CD release. Here are the top 10 Dreamcast software sales rankings. Sega's Get Bass leads with 58,746 units sold there. The House of the Dead 2 Feet follows in second with 140,020 units. Blue Stinger is third, approaching 100,000 total sales. Marvel vs. Capcom is fourth, and Super Speed Racing is fifth. Sega Rally 2 Feet holds sixth place, while Yukawa Moto Senmu no Otakara Sagashi is seventh. Power Stone is eighth, followed by Kita E. White Illumination in ninth. Psychic Force 2012 rounds out the list at 10th. The list includes a variety of genres, like fishing, shooters, action-adventure, fighting, racing, and adventure games, with most titles experiencing stable sales. Dreamcast Magazine readers eagerly anticipate several upcoming games, with Shenmue taking the top spot, slated for a promotional free release on August 5th and a network ticket giveaway. Grandia 2 secures second place, raising questions about its online RPG integration for enhanced gameplay. Soul Calibur ranks third, promising a summer release with vibration support, alongside teases about character details. Weekly Pickup highlights Black Matrix AD, a coming soon title, boasting a 120% content increase. Dynamite Deca 2, Die Hard Arcade 2, is listed at 11th, with a playable demo included in the magazine. Other anticipated titles in the top 30 include Biohazard Code, Veronica, Virtual On Oratorio Tangram, and Street Fighter 03, with a brief mention of Densha Shonen, no Densha Seikatsu, and World Neverland Plus generating interest. This page showcases 2 distinct game rankings from reader polls and arcade income data. The first ranking, Transplant Wish Top 20, lists games fans hope to see ported to the Dreamcast, including the Sakura Wars series at number 1, Rent-A-Hero, Virtua Striker 2 Feet 99, Dead or Alive 2, Final Fantasy series, Super Robot Wars, Metal Gear Solid, Shin Megami Tensei series, Daytona USA 2, Burning Rangers, Street Fighter 2 Third Strike, Dragon Quest series, Spike Out, Shining Force series, Machi, localized as Street in the West, Nights into Dreams, Zombie Revenge, Beatmania series, Culdcept, and Cross Tante Monogatari. There's also a spotlight on Sakura Wars Tag Tournament, showing screenshots of the game. The second ranking, Video Game Income Ranking Top 15, focuses on the top-earning arcade games. Virtua Striker 2 Feet 99 leads this chart, followed by Virtua Fighter 3 TB, Street Fighter ZER 03, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Verning 5.4, Spike Out, Tekken 3, The King of Fighters 98, Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi, The House of the Dead 2, Beatmania Complete Mix, Last Blade 2, Zombie Revenge, and LA Machine Guns. Highlighted titles from this ranking include Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Verjor 5.4, with in-game screenshots and text discussing its latest version and Dreamcast potential. Crazy Taxi is also featured with a screenshot and text mentioning its map and gameplay. Finally, Wild Ambition is also showcased with a screenshot and text praising its combat system. This page showcases a release schedule for Dreamcast software and hardware. The software section lists games planned for release from April 1999 to January 2000 and beyond. Notable titles mentioned include Redline Racer, Dynamite Cop 2, Elemental Gimmick Gear, King of Fighters Dream Match 1999, Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story, Colony no Ochita Chide, Shenmue Chapter 1 Yokosuka, Soul Calibur, Biohazard Code, Veronica, known internationally as Resident Evil Code, Veronica, and Rayman 2. Many titles are listed as undecided release date, or tentative titles, indicating these games were still in development and their release dates were not yet finalized. The hardware section lists peripherals like a Neo Geo Pocket/Dreamcast connection cable, a fishing controller, and a microphone device, planned for release in 1999. Finally, the page mentions Giant Channel and the use of visual memory for portable games as other related products. It's a preview of what Dreamcast owners could expect in the coming months. This page showcases the Reader's Race 16, a Dreamcast Magazine reader poll ranking Dreamcast games. At the top of the chart sits Sega 2, followed by Sonic Adventure and the House of the Dead 2, then Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, and Power Stone. Other highly ranked games include Pops in Music and Blue Stinger. The page highlights the new entry at number 7, Get Bass, a fishing game. Reader reviews for Get Bass are featured, mentioning the thrill of hooking a bass and the enjoyable gameplay, while some found the single-player mode lacking and wished for more variety, even suggesting elements from the arcade version. There's also an introduction to a new fishing controller, Peripheral, emphasizing its realistic rod-like design for an immersive fishing experience. Lastly, a section titled Recent Release Planned Ranking Software lists upcoming and recently released titles, such as Mahjong Taikai 2 Special, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 6th, Nobunaga's Ambition, Rise to Power with Power-Up Kit, and Weeb Mystery Yochi Yume Miru Neko, amongst others. This page covers various Dreamcast content, including game reviews, peripheral rankings, and reader events. Digital race newspaper My Trackman, a simulation, earned an 8.3315 player rating. The OS table ranks peripherals, with the Rumble Pack, VGA box, and fishing controller at the top. Player comments in Dream Horse Owner's Voice mention several games and a desire for a pachinko controller. The Reader's Race survey encourages predictions for Redline Racer, with prizes offered. Reviews include Blue Stinger, an action-adventure game with an overall score of 8.7142, highlighting its fast pace and puzzles, and Super Speed Racing, a racing game scoring 8.3333, praised for its kart-style racing. Finally, this week's odds prediction involves predicting the rank of Web Mystery Prophecy Dream Seeing Cat. This page showcases game reviews from Dreamcast Magazine. It explains the review scoring system, ranging from 1, not product level, to 10, buy this software recommended to others. The page features reviews for 2 games. First is WEB Mystery Yochi Musho Miru Neko, a mystery adventure game published by Mebius and developed by Sega, priced at 6,800 yen. It scored an average of 7.0 out of 10. Reviewers praised the game's movie-like presentation, unique atmosphere set in various Asian locations, an engaging story about a murder case linked to the internet and precognitive dreams. While some found the gameplay light, the overall experience as a Japanese cinema you can play was highlighted positively. The second review is for Redline Racer, a high-speed motorcycle racing game published by Imagineer and developed by Criterion Software. It is priced at 5,800 yen and received an average score of 6.0 out of 10. Reviewers noted the acrobatic and jump-focused gameplay as enjoyable, along with the sense of speed. However, criticisms included somewhat dated graphics and sound, and a lack of depth in the racing mechanics compared to other racers, with the crash effects in multiplayer being a highlight. Finally, the page introduces the reviewers, including REI, who is described as liking Asian culture and sees potential in chaotic and unpredictable elements. This page is an advertisement for the official strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Arrow Dancing, featuring Blue Impulse. It highlights that this guide is for all players, from beginners to experts, and covers system explanations, Blue Impulse missions, Sky Mission attack techniques, and even hidden elements within the game. It also promises developer interviews and states the book's price and page count. The advert emphasizes that with this guide, players can become magnificent pilots in the game. Published by SoftBank, This guide was released in 1999. This page is a special report for a tactical simulation game from NEC Interchannel. With no release date or price announced at the time, the image depicts a winged character with a bloodstained sword, and the tagline translates to, "Seeing the bloodstained sword, the boy thinks, everything is for the sake of the one he loves." The game is designed for single-player mode. This page is an advertisement for Black Matrix AD, which is presented as an evolved version of the Sega Saturn game Black Matrix, now coming to Dreamcast. The text highlights the original Saturn game's popularity and mentions that this new Dreamcast title, B/MAD, is not a sequel but an evolution. The page features a game screenshot showing a battle scene and a prominent illustration of a female character. This article discusses the Dreamcast remake of the Sega Saturn game, Black/Matrix MAD. The developers chose to remake the game to explore the dark themes of its world, where morality is reversed. The game features a world where the 7 deadly sins are praised and virtues are considered evil. The protagonist, Abel, a memory-lost character rescued by a black-winged girl, begins his journey imprisoned in Golgotha. Screenshots compare the Saturn and Dreamcast versions, highlighting improved visuals. The developers, producer Nobuhito Takahata, NEC Interchannel, and original creator Gao B2, Neko Builders, are introduced. The locations Sodom and Gomorrah are showcased, contrasting equal treatment in Sodom with its implied opposite in Gomorrah, both benefiting from the Dreamcast's graphical enhancements. This page is about Black Matrix Advanced for the Dreamcast. It highlights the Master Selection feature, which is a key part of the game's beginning, where you choose your main character. The Dreamcast version emphasizes communication with your chosen master, and aims to make the sense of separation more impactful compared to the Saturn version. Character introductions are featured, showcasing Kureiju, a boyish type who can show a feminine side, Domina, described as an occult girl with a pure image but a hidden side, and Purika, a mature and passionate woman. A screenshot from the Saturn version of the game shows dialogue choices and the user interface. There's an interview section with visual supervisor Kondo Yasuhiko from Studio Take Rankin and director Ishihara Shinya from Flightplan. They discuss how anime cutscenes are used to evoke the game's unique and melancholic worldview, aiming to make it more visually compelling and easier to understand. They mention that the anime parts are being created by Studio Take Rankin, known for anime production. The interview also touches upon how the game uses environmental details like stray dogs and injured people to indirectly convey the sorrowful atmosphere of the game world, rather than resorting to more direct depictions of violence. They aim to communicate the feeling of pain and sorrow, rather than just joy. The page also includes examples of background image boards, showcasing the visual style and world building of Black Matrix Advanced. This page is a preview for a Dreamcast game, highlighting the addition of 20 minutes of animation to enhance the game's world. It mentions that the protagonist Abel will remain silent, just like in the previous Sega Saturn title, to maintain player immersion. The developers explain that player choices will significantly impact the storyline, leading to branching paths and varied playthrough experiences. A new character named Gaius, described as a powerful figure imprisoned for his actions, is introduced. The enhanced visuals through animation are emphasized, contrasting with the dot-based graphics of the previous game and promising a more immersive and impactful experience on the Dreamcast. Black Matrix AD Advanced for the Dreamcast is an enhanced version of the Sega Saturn title, featuring branching scenarios and enhanced visual scenes. The branching scenarios provide deeper story development, diverging significantly based on player choices, potentially unlocking new content not found in the original. Spectacular scenes receive enhanced visual effects, making key moments like the splitting sea even more impactful. Developer insights highlight the Dreamcast version's focus on player agency. Players can now proactively please their master through activities beyond minigames. The game also prioritizes accessibility, streamlining battle parameters, clarifying weapon abilities, and shifting the focus from discovery to strategic item collection. Essential elements like character leveling, magic, and free battles are retained and refined. Screenshots showcase the series' consistent art style. This page focuses on a preview of the Dreamcast game Black/Matrix AD, a simulation battle RPG, highlighting the new battle system and significantly renewed magic effects. The article mentions that the battle maps are entirely new for this version and are designed in 2Ds, despite polygon graphics being common at the time, to prioritize playability. It showcases several different battle map environments including prison, castle, shrine, and Rock Mountain. The page also details several gameplay elements under the heading BM Terminology Explanation, including minigames. These are described as games played during the protagonist's daily life to determine their basic parameters. Examples include Makiwari, Tsuri, Nezumi Search, and Moguraki. Biorhythm. A clock displayed during battle that affects the effectiveness of magic, with magic power fluctuating according to the biorhythm. Combat styles. This system is described as giving weapons bloody points to unleash powerful special moves in battle, indicating a strategic combat element. The Dreamcast version has slight specification changes to this system. Free battles. These battles can be initiated on the town map by interacting with suspicious characters, allowing players to level up and prepare for main story battles. Finally, the page introduces the character Johann, described as one of the divine officials in this world, possessing demonic powers. Johann, despite being a great magician, lives in the Golgotha prison. This page is focused on the Dreamcast game Black Matrix AD, highlighting new magic that will appear in the game. It mentions that attack and recovery magic will be present, but new magic effects will be different from the Dreamcast version, and completely new magic will be introduced. The sword summoning mechanic is also mentioned to have easier activation conditions. The page also previews 3 upcoming NEC Interchannel Dreamcast titles. First is Monster Breed, a monster breeding simulation game, slated for release in 1999 with price TBD. The developer comments mention that monster modeling is nearing completion, with a large number of monsters and a focus on bringing them to life. They express confidence that users will be satisfied with the final product. Next is Sentimental Graffiti 2, a romance adventure game, scheduled for release on January 27, 2000. Price TBD. The developer notes it's been 2 years since the previous game, featuring a new protagonist who will meet 12 heroines. They emphasize a scenario focused on sadness, and that radio programs are also starting to build excitement. Finally, there is Meltylancer, The End of Century, a fairy breeding simulation game, planned for release in summer. Price TBD. The developer describes it as a visually stunning game, meticulously crafted, with voice recording currently underway and further news expected soon. They mention that the game emphasizes detailed communication and visuals. This page is a special report on World Neverland Plus, Olroyd Kingdom Stories for Dreamcast. The article highlights the game's unique concept of allowing players to live freely in a virtual world. It emphasizes that the game is not about defeating big bosses or following a set storyline. Instead, players experience life as an inhabitant of the Olroyd Kingdom, where around 100 NPCs also live their own lives, with routines like working, dating, and participating in events. The feature article points out that the game blurs the lines between NPCs and PCs, meaning players can interact with the world and characters in a more realistic way. The screenshots showcase the game's graphics and interface, depicting scenes from the kingdom and conversations between characters. The game is described as a life simulation in a fantasy world, where the focus is on experiencing everyday life and interactions within a dynamic community. World Neverland Plus offers players extensive freedom within a kingdom setting. Players can shape their lives through choices, illustrated by a flowchart outlining options like immigration, romance, marriage, career advancement, and even aiming for the throne. The game allows players to join organizations for income and skill development, progressing through battles and higher-paying jobs. Players can choose different work styles, including combat. Romance is another key element, enabling dating, marriage, and family continuation. The Dreamcast version, dubbed Warnba, emphasizes network communication as a key feature, enhancing the community aspect. The developers believe the game truly becomes complete when players discover new ways to play and share experiences, a feature greatly enhanced by the Dreamcast version. This page highlights the Dreamcast version of the World Neverland series, focusing on the enhanced character migration and online communication features. The article explains how the Dreamcast's visual memory unit allows players to transfer their in-game characters to other players' kingdoms, either as NPCs or player-controlled characters, expanding the gameplay possibilities. It emphasizes the depth of the World Neverland simulation, where every character has a life and acts independently, creating a dynamic and engaging world. The page then details the dedicated online site accessible within the Dreamcast game itself, making it easier than the PlayStation version, which required a PC. This online connectivity allows players to access a variety of content, including information exchange and character trading. The Kingdom Communication Station acts as the in-game interface for these online services. The article features an interview with producer Satoshi Miyazaki, who discusses the online aspects of the Dreamcast release. He aims to make online communication user-friendly, even for those unfamiliar with it. He mentions features like email with backgrounds and music and a bulletin board system called Waniba Note, enhancing the communication experience and providing user support within the game's online environment. The page highlights the Dreamcast network capabilities as a key feature for enjoying the community aspects of World Neverland. World Neverland Plus on Dreamcast offers robust online features centered around communication. The game boasts a Note BBS for sharing messages, illustrations, and music, along with email functionality allowing players to create and collect customizable greeting cards. Character exchange is simplified through visual memory transfer, a feature highlighted with an image. A card mail illustration contest is announced, seeking player-submitted art for in-game cards, with a deadline of April 30th. Satoshi Goto emphasizes the game's seamless online integration, accessibility through the communication option, and how character migration fosters social interaction. He positions the official website as integral to the game world, encouraging players to experience the Dreamcast's network capabilities. Screenshots showcase in-game card examples, and the game's logo is prominently displayed. This page is an advertisement for the Blue Stinger's Perfect Guide strategy book. It highlights the book as an A5 size, 112-page perfect guide for the Dreamcast game Blue Stinger, priced at 1,100 yen plus tax. The text at the top in vertical Japanese reads, "Unleash," or "Release," indicating the game's action-oriented nature, and the phrase at the bottom in red boldly proclaims that the guide is currently being thoroughly conquered, meaning it is a comprehensive strategy guide to help players beat the game. This page is a special report on Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast, showing off urgently released new screenshots of the game. It's from Namco's development team, and they're highlighting the improved visuals of the Dreamcast version. The article mentions that the game is about 40% complete, and there's been a 10% improvement in the quality since previous showings, featuring characters like Maxi and Sophitia. And for Wife, they're planning to delve into the world, story, and characters of Soul Calibur. There will be a character data and story file corner, and an official homepage launched by Namco's development team soon. Soul Calibur is slated for a summer release as a 3D weapons-based fighting game, and will support the Rumble Pack. This page is showcasing Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast, highlighting Namco's dedication to pushing the console's capabilities. It's touted as a Dreamcast special report, emphasizing the visual fidelity and gameplay of Soul Calibur. The page shows in-game screenshots featuring the character Maxi, performing various moves, like Suzuki Ryu Mai and Zhang Shi Kai Hanging Tail Crack. It mentions the game is in development, and is already 10% improved for the Dreamcast compared to the arcade version. Interviews with developers Mr. Senayama and Mr. Nimura reveal their focus on enhancing the quality and character models for the Dreamcast release, aiming for an even more polished experience than the arcade version. The developers are working to refine the visuals and ensure the character models are even more detailed and impressive in this home console version. This page is dedicated to Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, and features the character Sophitia. It highlights a move called Heaven's Judgment with button inputs, and another move, Reprisal Angel, which is described as a 3-stage attack using the shield. The page includes screenshots of Sophitia fighting Nightmare in both arcade and Dreamcast versions to compare graphics. There's also an interview section discussing the game's compatibility with the Vibration Pack and reasons for delays in revealing characters like Sophitia and Maxi. The developers explain that refining details like cloth movement and character balance took time, hence the delayed reveal of certain characters to ensure quality. This page starts a Soul Calibur special issue focusing on the story and character files, beginning with Story File Number 1, Prologue Cursed Sword Soul Edge's Transformation Doing. It delves into the tale of Soul Edge, a cursed sword, and its origins in the 16th century, becoming known as the Sword of Salvation, or the strongest weapon. The story explains how Soul Edge was originally 2 swords that became one, corrupted by evil intentions, and eventually becoming a cursed sword. The text then focuses on Cervantes, who obtained Soul Edge and became consumed by its evil power, transforming into a black-wind pirate. He massacred his subordinates and caused terror and pain. The narrative describes the search for Soul Edge and its eventual destruction by Sophitia, a holy warrior guided by Hephaestus, the god of smithing. A relationship diagram illustrates Cervantes' ownership of Soul Edge, showing how he obtained it from the merchant Adam via an auction,
how he then became paired with Soul Edge, and how Soul Edge was ultimately passed to Siegfried and transformed into Nightmare due to the sword's evil power. It also shows Sophidia wanting to rescue Siegfried, who is influenced by the evil sword. There is also a side panel about Soul Calibur, described as the holy sword opposing Soul Edge, but its whereabouts are currently unknown. This page is about the game Soul Edge, the precursor to Soul Calibur, focusing on the concept of fate in the narrative. The page highlights the game's story, mentioning that warriors become heroes and are etched in history, set around the 14th century, and described as a tale of swords and souls. It mentions the narrative is about the tragic fate of the characters, and focuses on Cervantes, who is furious and seeks to defeat Sophidia, but is stopped by Taki, the demon huntress. The text describes how Cervantes loses one of his swords, and the balance is broken, leading to the emergence of Soul Edge. The page explains that after the battle between Taki and Cervantes, a mysterious light phenomenon occurred in Spain, which was the evil seed, an omen that will bring disaster to the world, unbeknownst to those who witnessed it. The article then poses the question, where is the remaining Soul Edge? A box on the right describes Soul Edge as a cursed sword at the heart of the story, originally a pair of swords, but one was destroyed, leaving only one great sword currently. This page is a Soul Calibur special issue focusing on the dark side character 1, which is Nightmare. The page details the character story of Nightmare, highlighting his weapon, Soul Edge. It explains Soul Edge is a cursed sword, originally one of a pair owned by Cervantes, but now a single blade after being damaged by Sophidia. The text describes how Soul Edge changes form depending on the host and their fighting style. The article details the origin story of Nightmare, stating he was once a young warrior named Siegfried, who found Soul Edge after a battle, becoming corrupted and transformed into Nightmare, now seeking souls and wielding a large, grotesque version of Soul Edge. The page includes images of Nightmare and Siegfried, illustrating the transformation. This page is dedicated to Nightmare from Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, focusing on his unique fighting style. It highlights 3 key stances he uses with his great sword: Chief Hold, Dexter Hold, and Base Hold, each offering different attack options and strategic advantages in combat. The page details how Nightmare's stances allow for varied attacks, from powerful strikes to guard breaks, and adapting to different situations. It also emphasizes Nightmare's incredible reach and destructive power, noting he can hit opponents from a great distance and deliver heavy blows. Furthermore, the page points out Nightmare's strong ring-out ability, stating he is adept at knocking opponents out of the ring from various directions, making him a formidable character in Soul Calibur due to his offensive pressure and ability to control space. Screenshots show Nightmare in action during gameplay, showcasing his stances and attacks within the 3D arena environments of Soul Calibur. This page is about the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur, and is from the Namco vs. Soul Calibur Development Department. It announces an illustration contest for Soul Calibur-related artwork to be included in the Dreamcast version of the game. The page highlights that illustrations related to Soul Calibur are being accepted, but they should not feature original characters or content against public order and morals, and should be new illustrations, implying previously submitted or H-rated art will not be accepted. The deadline for submissions is May 10th. The page also features a VS Development Department Carrier Development Diary section dated April 15, 1999, discussing the development of Soul Calibur. It mentions that the first playable version of Soul Calibur was revealed in March. The diary discusses the development progress, mentioning that the game was about 30% complete at that time and aiming for a 300% improvement. It also talks about the character Nightmare and the different types of Nightmare characters being developed. Successful illustration submissions will have the illustrator's name displayed in the Dreamcast Soul Calibur game, and winners will receive a copy of the Dreamcast Soul Calibur game itself. The page also encourages readers to send in postcards and letters with questions, messages, and ideas related to the Soul Calibur development. This page features an urgent interview with producer Koji Okada about Maken Shi X, also known internationally as Maken X. The article is subtitled, Okada Koji's Answer from the Inside. It highlights that only 1 month after the Tokyo Game Show, the true form of Maken X will be revealed. The interview discusses the reaction to the Maken X demo shown at the Tokyo Game Show. Okada states that the TGS version was only a small portion of the game, focusing on action elements and the initial movement, specifically the link code system. He clarifies that Maken X is not just an action game, and that they were aiming for an adventure experience. He believes some users may have misunderstood this based on the TGS demo, which focused heavily on the action part, but the game has a deep story and world setting. He wants to properly convey the full picture of Maken X.
There are screenshots showing in-game scenes and characters, demonstrating the 3D CG graphics and action gameplay. Okada also mentions that Atlus will be exhibiting 3 titles, including Make an X, at the game show, and promises that Make an X will show its true form from now on. The game is listed as an adventure game scheduled for release in 1999 by Atlus. This page is a preview of the Dreamcast game Make an X and features an interview with producer Okada Kuji. The article highlights the game's use of real-time rendering for all movie scenes, aiming to create a deeper story and event presentation. They are pushing the Dreamcast hardware to its limits for visual quality. The interview touches on the game's development progress, stating that the story is largely complete, and they are focusing on data conversion and presentation. The game's action and story event parts are considered roughly equal in importance. The game is described as interactive real-time CG, a first for the developers. Motion capture was not initially planned. They aim for imagination exceeding motion for the characters, even considering characters that can rotate 360 degrees and unexpected enemy types. The Tokyo Game Show demo featured a 10-minute playable section using the sword. The developers are refining balance, enemy placement, and controls through trial and error, aiming for an early release to satisfy player demand. The game will utilize vibration feedback and the visual memory (VM) unit for enhanced gameplay. The VMU will allow for network communication and information sharing between players, expanding the game's multiplayer aspects. Make an X, a Dreamcast game, is showcasing its true form after the Tokyo Game Show. The game features action gameplay with a spider-themed character. Developers aim for unrealistic reality through advanced 3D movement and emphasize the importance of power, both in gameplay and story. They're focusing on multiple playthroughs with varied endings based on player choices. The article highlights the immersive 3D audio experience designed to enhance player presence. Renowned designer Kazuma Kaneko created around 300 character designs for the game, taking a fresh approach. The developers stress the importance of gameplay and interactivity amidst the industry's focus on visuals and are optimistic about the game's possibilities, with more information forthcoming. This page is a preview of the Dreamcast game Framegride. It highlights the game as a robot action title where players customize their mechs using parts and battle. The preview mentions that a playable version was available at the Tokyo Game Show in March. The article focuses on a newly revealed system where a gauge is used to manage action and attacks. It describes how attacking depletes this gauge, and when empty, you cannot attack, emphasizing strategic combat and resource management. Screenshots show in-game action and customization menus, where players can adjust their mech's parameters like FP, frame power, defense, mobility, and weight. It emphasizes that the graphics are more beautiful than previous titles.
The game is slated for a July release and is priced at 6,800 yen.
Features listed include 3D battles, versus play, memory backup, and support for keyboard and rumble packs. This page details a new system called Material in the game Framegride, explaining how players can create new parts for their robots. The process involves 3 steps: selecting materials, confirming the parts that can be created, and then the part is completed. Materials are obtained by defeating enemies in CPU battles. The page showcases various robot parts, such as the head, chest, arms, legs, weapon, shield, back weapon, and sword, briefly describing their functions. There's also a section introducing the world of Framegride and its enemies, using symbol cards to represent characters and hinting at the story, which involves locations like El Sekua, characters like Fivelk and Mirage Grand Chief Priest, and a conflict where players will fight against Fivelk border troops. Screenshots show robots battling in a desert setting. This page details Squire as optional mecha in the game Framegride. It explains that squires are minions that knights can use, and in the game's world, knights refer to Framegride. Squires move independently and support the player, with diverse appearances and behaviors, acting as shields or offensive units. The page describes 3 types of squires. Type 1, Flying type. This is described as a slightly sci-fi flying type squire, designed to protect the player with shooting attacks. It's mentioned that the name Type 1 was given for convenience by the editorial team, and isn't an official in-game name. Type 2, Walking type. This type is completely land-based, contrasting with Type 1, and has a unique ostrich-like style. Multiple Type 2 squires can be deployed simultaneously in battle. Players need to decide which type of squire and how many to use strategically before a battle. Type 2I. Its purpose is unclear from its appearance and is described as a mysterious squire, possibly a self-destruct type. Players can't directly control squires, but they can deploy them in real time, emphasizing strategic deployment as a key element of gameplay. The page also touches upon the compatibility between squires and frame guides. Each frame guided squire has one of 4 attributes: fire, water, wind, or earth, influencing their compatibility. This compatibility is determined by the combination of the frame guide's back relay stone and boost stone. Selecting squires that complement the frame guide's attributes is essential for strategic battles. The next page reveals the frame guide game, showcasing its 3 distinct classes of mecha frames: lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight. The medium weight class is described as the balanced type, suitable for anyone and offering extensive customization. Color variations for this class include blue/white and red/orange. Moving to the lightweight class, this is the speed-focused type, prioritizing agility over armor, suggesting heavy weapons may not be ideal. Color variations here are green, yellow, and red. Finally, the heavyweight class emphasizes toughness and durability over mobility, implying strong power and being playable at the Tokyo Game Show. Color variations are yellow and dark gray, with a description highlighting its solid, stable style and suitability for heavy weapons. The design of these mechs is noted to be heroic and knight-like, fitting for a protagonist. A check section is included, asking, "What will happen?" and focusing on the communication battle mode, a highly anticipated feature. From Software is developing this mode, aiming for intense battles with chat functionality. A screenshot showcases the latest 2-player battle screen, emphasizing the excitement surrounding the communication battles and noting that the screen is still under development. It hints at online communication battles becoming a reality. This page highlights the upcoming Dreamcast release of Dynamite Deca 2, known internationally as Dynamite Cop 2. It's advertised as a non-stop dramatic action game for 12 players, set to release on May 27, 1999, for 5,800 yen. The page proudly announces this special report as the first reveal of Dreamcast version screenshots, and notes that a playable demo, GDROM, will be included with the magazine issue releasing on May 14th. The screenshots emphasize the upgraded graphics compared to the Model 2 arcade version. New movie sequences are also touted as a feature of this Dreamcast edition, promising a highly playable experience for fans. This page is about the demo version of Dynamite Cop 2, highlighting what players can experience. It mentions that Mission 2 is playable up to the first boss and features characters Bruno and Jean. A new illustration gallery is announced for the demo and final game. The page also introduces Bruno Dellinger, also known as Mr. Dynamite, providing a character profile and mentioning his monkey companion Bubbles, who is not on this mission. It emphasizes that the demo includes continuous techniques and familiar cutscenes from the arcade version, suggesting a faithful recreation. Screenshots showcase gameplay on a ship and in an indoor area, along with character close-ups. This article previews the Dreamcast port of the arcade game Dynamite Deca 2, known internationally as Dynamite Cop. The Dreamcast version offers near-perfect graphical and animation reproductions of the arcade experience, with only minor differences in hit markers and weapon placement. Screenshots comparing both versions across various scenes demonstrate the fidelity. The demo allows players to control Bruno and Jean, utilizing the same throws and grappling moves as the arcade. Dreamcast-exclusive visual scenes are also included, with more realistic character models, though camera work remains largely unchanged. An introductory box presents Jean Ivy, a member of SEAL's female ghost squad, outlining her mission during a seajacking and her concerns about Bruno's recklessness. The preview concludes with speculations about potential new content, hidden characters like Commander Simons or Corolla, and an original stage possibly set on a cruise ship. This page is a preview of Dynamite Cop, known in Japan as Dynamite Deca 2. It focuses on the enhanced item system for the Dreamcast version, highlighting improved visual effects for weapons like the bazooka and anti-personnel missiles compared to the arcade version. The preview also introduces Captain Kukku and Madame Yan, a married couple who are bosses in Mission 2, noting their unique fighting styles and the interactive crane in their stage. Questions if time-based items from the arcade, triggered by playtime, will return in the Dreamcast version, and confirms the Dreamcast game will link to a homepage with hidden content, accessible via passwords like the arcade version, compatible with Dreamcast modems. The article also wonders if minigames similar to Deep Scan from the Saturn version of Die Hard Arcade will be included, and discusses potential visual memory support, questioning if its screen can be used for more than just saving game data. Eddie Brown is mentioned as a character who hasn't made his appearance in the demo version yet.
This page is a special report on Shenmue, highlighting it as the most anticipated Dreamcast game. It announces Shenmue Forest event to be held at Tokyo Big Sight from May 1st to 3rd. This event will showcase the latest version of Shenmue, improved from the Tokyo Game Show demo, with new gameplay footage and various events. 100 lucky Dreamcast Magazine readers will win tickets to this event. The page details two battle systems in Shenmue: Free Battle and QTE Battle. Free Battle is described as for intermediate to advanced players. At the Tokyo Game Show, this mode involved progressing freely and defeating 50 enemies. The current completion rate is 50%, with players noting room for improvement. QTE Battle is for everyone and is easy to enjoy. Its completion rate is at 80%. It uses combinations of the A, B, and directional buttons. Game over occurs after 3 failures, but players can retry from the same scene. This system is highlighted as a new battle system with a comfortable tempo. Screenshots show in-game scenes of combat, characters, and environments, and mentions that the stage is set in Japan, specifically Yokosuka's backstreets. It also mentions that the current battle system is still under development, and feedback from the game show is being used to improve it. The final product's motions will be refined from the 80% completion demo. This page is dedicated to exploring the Free Battle and QTE battle systems in Shenmue. The article focuses on the Free Battle mode, explaining its core mechanics. It highlights 4 key points: mastering learned techniques, which include incorporating moves like the tornado kick, the abundance of throwing techniques available, the implementation of big moves accessible with a single button press, and the freedom to utilize the environment and objects within battles. The Free Battle mode is described as having a time limit of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, with the goal of defeating 50 enemies. It's mentioned that at the Tokyo Game Show Spring '99, the game was 50% complete. Screenshots throughout the page demonstrate the gameplay and the button layout for the Free Battle system. This page is a preview for the QTE battle system from version 2 of Shenmue at Tokyo Game Show Spring '99, with the game being 80% complete. It describes the QuickTime event battles as a core feature, emphasizing how they are simple to control, with button prompts appearing on screen. Success in these button inputs leads to the protagonist defeating enemies swiftly, while failure results in taking damage. The system uses motion capture for realistic animations and dynamic camera angles to keep the experience fresh. It's highlighted that even if you fail, you can retry, and the game isn't instantly over. The preview mentions that the QTE battles in Shenmue are intended to be thrilling and impactful for the player. The screenshots show various QTE battle scenarios within a warehouse setting involving foreign sailors, showcasing different button prompts like A and B, and demonstrating successful and failed QTE sequences. The text mentions that the battle scenes are integrated into the cinematic flow of the game, with camera angles changing dynamically during gameplay. This page is all about Shenmue and dives into the action aspects, specifically the Free Battle and QuickTime event QTE battles. It highlights how even beginners can easily get into the QTE battles, thanks to simple controls and a rhythmic, tempo-based emotional curve. The page emphasizes the exciting and dynamic nature of these battles, comparing them to action movie scenes. It details different combat scenarios, including dealing with multiple enemies and boss battles. Screenshots showcase in-game battle scenes. The page also introduces characters. Masayuki Fukuhara, described as gentle and reliable, deeply respecting his master and managing the Kohei family's affairs, and Ine Hayata, a calm and diligent old-fashioned woman who watches over Ryo's actions. The Geka Dojo, the Hazuki family's dojo, is also spotlighted as a key location. Finally, it promotes the next issue of Dreamcast Magazine, which will feature more on Shenmue, including the Network Jungle 2 event, a special interview with Yu Suzuki vs. Uji Hiroi, and a feature on Suki-chan. This page is about the Dreamcast game, Professional Baseball Team O Tsukuru. Let's make a pro baseball team. This preview focusing on training players during February camp, suggesting different camp locations like your local area, Okinawa, Taiwan, and Guam, each with varying costs and benefits. The page highlights that camp location choice affects player development. There's a quiz asking you to guess baseball player names based on CG representations of in-game characters. The game is described as a sports simulation, set to be released in June 1999 by Sega, priced at 5,800 yen, and for one player. It mentions the goal is to raise players like pitcher Matsuzaka,
referencing Daisuke Matsuzaka, a famous baseball player,
and aims to guide players on how to develop their team.
The teams featured in the game are listed as Dragons, Blue Wave, Fighters, Lions, Swallows, Tigers, Giants, Buffaloes, Marines, Hawks, Baystars, and Carp.
This page is about the camp mode in the baseball simulation game, Pro Yakyu Team o Tsukuru.
It explains that in this Dreamcast version, 1 month of camp training is condensed into a single turn. The page details 2 training menus. A basic menu with preset training options for pitchers and fielders focusing on skills like physical conditioning, ball control, change-ups for pitchers, and technique, power, and speed for fielders. There is also an edit menu for customized training, allowing players to focus on specific skills. The article highlights the coach's advice system, which helps players understand player weaknesses and training directions, and the visual feedback of training results using arrows to show skill improvement. Finally, it introduces special camp-only training types, like position conversion, learning new pitches, and switch hitting, emphasizing their importance for player development during camp. The next page in Dreamcast Magazine is all about baseball training for a Dreamcast game. From March onwards, the training becomes a bit more generalized as you prepare for open matches and the pennant race. This is because you can't just focus solely on training and need to get into matches to gain actual experience. For the first team, training is divided into pitchers and fielders. Pitcher training focuses on ball control, speed and change-ups, and overall control. Fielders train in hitting, base running, defense, and guarding. Common training elements for both include basic drills, adjustments, rest, and special coaching sessions in March. The second team focuses purely on basic physical training and adjustments. This seems to be emphasized as important. There's also a mention of injuries. If players get injured during training, they'll be sent to the second team for recovery. So you need to be careful and not overdo it to avoid injuries. The game features events all rendered in real-time CG, which is highlighted as a big step up. Finally, there's an introduction to a character called Lisa Miller, who is described as a secretary. She's got a nice figure and apparently has business study experience from America, giving her a worldly perspective, and she will provide advice in the game. The next page is an interview with the developers of Professional Baseball Team o Tsukuru, which was not released outside of Japan. The interview focuses on the Dreamcast version of the game and the development team, including the director Takashi Sasarikawa, planner Kazuaki Kitagawa, and programmer Takakiyo Yamashita. They discuss the game's budget of 1 billion yen, the development process, and improvements from the Saturn version. Key improvements include better graphics, more detailed player development screens, and new training methods in different camp locations. The developers mention that in the Dreamcast version, players can clearly see the progress of their players through training, and that the game features more strategic depth. They also touch on the challenge of finding high-potential players and the importance of nurturing young talent in the game. The interview gives insights into the development philosophy and aims for the Dreamcast iteration of Yakutsuku. This page is a preview for D2, subtitled Magic of Terror, showcased at Crazy Expo 99 Stage and revealed for the first time at Tokyo Game Show, TGS. The page features a disturbing image of a character called Grandpa, who is classified as file number 002. According to the profile, Grandpa is Jenny's grandfather who was waiting for her in the Canadian mountains to play. While waiting, he transformed into a monster. Driven by the desire to show Jenny magic, he diligently practiced magic, but his monstrous transformation deeply affected his intentions and desires. His pity and obsession with magic are described as indescribable. The article highlights that this footage was first shown at TGS and emphasizes the advanced graphics compared to the demo version. It mentions an interview with Kenji Ino, the creator, and teases secret behind the Grandpa character, promising intense and shocking scenes in D2. The page also details D-Table 2, D2's Japanese title, as an RPG developed by Warp, with a release date to be determined and priced at 5,800 yen. It is noted to be compatible with the Rumble Pack accessory. The next page is welcoming players to Kushio and introduces the rumored Grandpa as the next crazy boss character in D2, the sequel to D. This boss fight, Grandpa, is described as being even more disturbing than the previous boss, Stewardess. The page details the encounter, stating that a rampaging truck will appear when the player reaches a certain point. This truck scene initiates the battle with Grandpa, who is revealed to be driving the truck and is said to resemble Laura when she previously rode in a truck. Grandpa's main attack method is through touch, and he seems confused, sometimes calling out Jenny. He also boasts about his magic tricks. As a special skill, he uses a dove as an assist character. The text emphasizes Grandpa's unusual nature, highlighting that despite taking heavy damage and bleeding green blood, he is seemingly immortal and will get back up, implying he is undead. This page showcases upgraded character models for Kimberly and Parker in what appears to be a preview of a game. The article highlights improvements to character rendering using physique technology, making movements and joints look more natural. Parker is also mentioned as receiving a visual upgrade, making him appear more masculine. Before and after screenshots illustrate these graphical enhancements, particularly in character details and clothing. The page also previews monster designs, stating, "Monster design is all new." It shows two monster types. Type A, described as having octopus-like arms and a prominent eye on its chest, and Type B, resembling a cockroach or beetle with insect-like legs. The article mentions that previously revealed Zako enemies looked too human, and the new versions are designed to be more monstrous. The screenshots also touch upon gameplay elements, showing the player character taking damage, indicated by screen effects and blood splatter, and confirms the presence of a UI with health and weapon information in the final game. This looks like a preview for a game, likely Resident Evil code. Veronica, showcasing visual and design improvements. This page focuses on the Dreamcast game D2, titled Journey from Despair Cabin Analysis. It delves into the initial mountain cabin setting of the game. The article highlights the immersive 360-degree view players have within the cabin, and how the camera can be rotated to observe the environment from the bed's position. It also discusses interactions with the character Kimberly, emphasizing that dialogue and Laura's viewpoint change depending on Kimberly's location and state, all without screen cuts. Kimberly is described as living and acting independently, influencing Laura's actions. The article mentions actions like drinking coffee, holding her head, and observing the fireplace or the outside window. Crucially, it details how players obtain their first weapon, the submachine gun, within this cabin environment. The page concludes by previewing the snowy field outside the cabin, teasing encounters with snowmobiles, and the start of Laura's battles in D2. This page is Chapter 1 of a feature on snowmobile mechanics for the Warp Cup Snowmobile Time Attack Tournament Volume 5. It provides a detailed breakdown of snowmobile components with illustrations, including the engine, carburetor, automatic transmission, and front and rear suspension systems. The page also covers the riding style for snowmobiles, emphasizing the importance of appropriate gear, such as helmets, goggles, gloves, and specialized wear designed for cold and snowy conditions. It advises against wearing inappropriate attire, like a miniskirt and suit, when riding a snowmobile, and recommends sturdy, warm clothing for safe and comfortable snowmobiling. This page is an instructional guide on snowmobile driving techniques within a game context. It details basic straight-line and standing forms, as well as cornering techniques, highlighting important points such as body positioning, shock absorption, and weight shifting. The page also announces a competition for the game Snowmobile Time Attack Rally, with a deadline of April 30th and prizes including a Yamaha snowmobile and travel vouchers. A ranking announcement is also featured, showcasing top players and their scores in the game. Screenshots from the game illustrate the gameplay, depicting snowmobile racing in a snowy mountain environment. This page is a special report announcing the Dreamcast game, The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999. It's presented as the first in a series of Dreamcast titles from SNK, and is a 3-on-3 team battle fighting game based on the popular arcade game King of Fighters 98. The game is scheduled to be released on June 10th and will cost 5,800 yen. It is also mentioned to be compatible with the Neo Geo Pocket game King of Fighters R2. The page details that Dream Match 1999 is fundamentally based on KOF 98, but with original elements added for the Dreamcast. It highlights the inclusion of two play modes, Advanced and Extra, familiar to players of the King of Fighters series. There's also a section called The King of Fighters History, which briefly summarizes the evolution of the KOF series from 94 to 98. It mentions how KOF 94 introduced the 3-on-3 team battle system, 95 brought in character changes and team editing, 96 introduced emergency evasion, and 97 onwards offered a choice of 2 evasion modes and character renewals. Screenshots from various King of Fighters games are included to illustrate this history, alongside screenshots from Dream Match 1999 itself.
This page is all about The King of Fighters Dream Match 1999. It highlights the game system, focusing on the team battle system which was pioneered in KOF 94 and its impact on fighting games. The game uses team change and emphasizes strategic depth. The page points out that three-person teams are key, and the game requires thoughtful team composition. It mentions that the game features a roster of 38 characters, a large number for the time, including characters from past SNK games and original characters, offering freshness. The page showcases key characters like Kyo Kusanagi, Benimaru Nikaido, and Daimon Gokoro as the main original team. It also highlights characters like Ralph, Clark, Leona, and Ryo Sakazaki. The action section notes the importance of avoiding as a system in KOF, alongside offensive moves, and that gameplay style varies based on the play mode, emphasizing strategic combat. The page emphasizes that understanding character-specific special moves is vital to crafting effective battle strategies. This page spotlights iconic SNK fighting game characters, emphasizing the power gauge and super special move system. Characters from Fatal Fury are highlighted, including Terry, Andy, Joe, Billy, Mary, and Ryuji. KOF originals Choi, Chang, and Kim Kafwan are also featured. Psycho Soldiers, Athena Asamiya is depicted, alongside Art of Fighting characters Ryo, Yuri, and Robert. Other characters, like King, Mai Shiranui, Lucky Glauber, Brian Battler, and Heavy D, are also shown. The core gameplay revolves around the power gauge, charged by actions like button combinations or landing attacks. When full, fighters unleash powerful super special moves, enhancing attack power. The text underscores the importance of mastering this gauge system for victory in SNK fighting games. This page is dedicated to King of Fighters Dream Match 99 on Dreamcast, highlighting the enhanced 3D polygon backgrounds that bring depth to the 2D fighting. The page showcases a selection of characters including Shermie, Yashiro, Chris, Vice, and Mature as part of the roster. It also features older generation fighters Takuma Sakazaki, Hydern, and Saisyu Kusanagi. Furthermore, the page details the Edit Character mode, a feature where players can customize fighters. This Dreamcast version can also connect with the Neo Geo Pocket Color game King of Fighters R2, allowing for data exchange and expanding the gameplay experience. The original character creation section shows screenshots hinting at the customization options available. This page focuses on a Dreamcast game called Nasubi no Heya, or Nasubi's Room, a prize life game based on the popular Denpa Shonen Teki Kensho Seikatsu TV segment from the show Susume Denpa Shonen. The game is about living a life solely on prizes, inspired by the TV segment where comedian Nasubi lived naked in a room and only survived by winning prizes through magazine and TV show competitions. The article explains that in the game, players can experience this prize life themselves. Information for prize applications comes from magazines like Prize Get Magazine and Chance It, which are accessible online in the game. Players use electronic postcards to apply for prizes. The game displays information such as prize life, acquired prize money, number of applications, and remaining postcards. Players manage Nasubi's life in the game, and his room's appearance changes based on his prize life. Gameplay involves selecting commands from the right side of the screen, including prize information, application, and prize status confirmation. There are also action selection commands, which offer various interactions. The article highlights the question posed by the original TV show, can humans live only on prizes? And presents the game as a way to experience this concept. The game is priced at 1,480 yen and was scheduled for release in June. It requires internet access and keyboard compatibility. The tagline reads, "Ultimately, can a person live by prizes?" and Prize Life Game Software, Nasubi's Room. This page details how to participate in internet prize competitions using the Dreamcast game Nagisubi's Room. It explains the steps involved, starting with purchasing electronic postcards using web money, then navigating the game menus to select prize information from magazines like Prize and Magazine or Chance It. The guide outlines choosing categories, selecting from prize lists, answering quizzes or surveys, deciding on the number of entries, and finally applying through the internet within the game. It distinguishes between virtual prizes within the game and real-world prizes that Hudson arranges to be sent to winners. The page humorously encourages players to participate and test their luck. This page is about the upcoming Dreamcast game Elemental Gimmick Gear, or EGG as it is known. It is described as an action RPG from Hudson, and is currently 100% complete and due for release on May 27th, priced at 5,800 yen. The article highlights that besides the main game, there are surprisingly well-made minigames included. One minigame being showcased is called Rackle Leisureland, which seems to be a separate and fun experience away from the main RPG adventure, and is surprisingly deep. The article also mentions a pet raising element in the main game and reveals some initial information about it. Screenshots show off the unique mechanical character design of EGG, and some gameplay from the Rackle Leisureland minigame. This page reveals a new species discovery in Tokoton called Metamo, described as a mysterious, primitive life form. The article explains how to capture Metamo. Metamo are found in Foguna and can be caught using Leon's EGG and brought to a container in a room next to Leisureland to be raised. Players need to feed Metamo elements to nurture them, and it is hinted that Metamo will evolve into different forms as it grows. Screenshots show in-game locations and interfaces related to capturing and raising Metamo, including dialogue boxes describing the creature and its needs. The article poses questions about what Metamo is, where to raise it, and what happens when it evolves. This page is focused on the game Rackle Land, highlighting its two minigames. The page details the EGG trial minigame, describing it as an action puzzle where speed and luck are key. The EGG trial has 4 rooms, each presenting a different challenge. Room 1, Break the Blocks, requires players to destroy blocks in a room to collect point markers. There are different types of markers offering varying points. Room 2, Place the Blocks, tasks players with moving blocks to specific locations within a time limit to gain points. Enemies appear, and contact reduces time. Room 3, Spin and Dash Through Eye, involves using spin dashes to navigate through closing gates within a time limit. Precise timing is crucial. Room 4, Spin and Dash Through 2, is about traversing falling floors and reaching a goal while collecting score markers. Careful timing and route selection are important for maximizing points. This page showcases the EGG Race minigame, a time attack race in a 3D perspective. Polygon-based racing game starring the comical EGG characters. The gameplay involves racing on a course for 3 laps, aiming for the goal to earn points and rewards. The controls are described as simple, using the analog stick. There are 3 camera views available during the race. Items are scattered around the course and can be collected up to 3 at a time, being key to victory. The page highlights a tropical exciting course, set in a seaside resort, with colorful EGG characters racing. It mentions acceleration plates to boost speed and bomb plates to avoid. There are also acceleration items that can be stocked and used strategically. The game features a point system based on ranking, with higher points for better performance. The page also touches upon Rackle Leisureland, suggesting the EGG race is part of this Leisureland, and hinting at future updates and expansions to the area. EGG Industries fueled the prosperity of Tokion, a kingdom known for its peace and comfort, and the popular game EGG FIGHT. Adventurers explored EGG ruins, discovering the Bellwood Almer ruins 200 years prior, believed to hold humanity's future. Investigations ceased, and the ruins were placed under surveillance. The story introduces Sleepman Futatabi, a character sealed in Tokion year 1387, who has amnesia. Dr. Yam Galleria, director of the Royal Science Research Institute, studied the Sleepman, but he remained unconscious. 8 years later, Dr. Yam's apprentice, Sarin Lucino, determined the Sleepman, nicknamed Leon, to be over 5,100 years old, based on geological surveys. Sarin's unique approach involved treating Leon with compassion. Today, while the ruins symbolize peace, their true value remains unknown. Elemental Gimmick Gear, EGG, a Japan-exclusive Dreamcast game, is set in Destiny year 1453, after EGG ruins are attacked by giant tentacles, causing widespread destruction and terror. The Yamato Archaeology Institute survives, and key characters like Sarin and Leon are safe. Leon awakens with amnesia, but Sarin believes his memories are crucial. The text also covers the popular Ma-Z card game and merchandise, including collectible figures and Ma's Magical War. It then returns to EGG, detailing limited edition figures and gameplay.
Specifically, 3D magic battles with team formations. Leon, guided by Saturn, demonstrates exceptional control of the EGG cockpit. The narrative concludes with a focus on Yasunori Hara, involved with MOZ, hinting at upcoming EGG content from a new perspective. The next page is about the Dreamcast RPG Climax Landers, known internationally as Time Stalkers. This article interviews the development staff, including the illustrator Tamaki Yoshitaka, known for character design and building art, and scenario editor Wachi Masayoshi, who also worked on Shining Force and Popola Cross story scenarios. The interview discusses the concept of the game, where various worlds and characters are brought together. The developers aim to create a game where players could enjoy interacting with a diverse cast and experience a world that feels alive. They mention the challenges in creating the scenario system, handling a large amount of character data, and ensuring that player choices influence the story. The game is described as an RPG, with dungeon exploration elements. They emphasize creating a detailed story and character interactions, with over 30 dialogue patterns per character. The developers wanted to provide a unique RPG experience different from typical genre titles. Game details include that it is being published by Sega, scheduled for release on June 10th, priced at 5,800 yen, and is an RPG compatible with the visual memory unit. The interview concludes with the developer expressing excitement for the release and hinting at more information about Landers in the next issue. An interview with Itama and Kazutoshi explores game development and character creation, referencing Shining and the Darkness. They discuss character design challenges and user relatability, particularly with older games, acknowledging positive Dreamcast Magazine reader reception. The game's setting is set in the near future with fantasy elements. The interview highlights distinct characters like the Okama shop owner, Iragiza, and the detective Howard. A profile of scenario director Yasushi Sugimori, known for Dark Savior, details his crucial role in overseeing scenario, writing, programming, data management, and character coordination. The developers aim for 3 million copies sold and seek player feedback, hoping players will enjoy the Climax Landers world and story. This page introduces the game Espionagents, Industrial Agents for Active Espionage. It's a simulation game from NEC Home Electronics, expected to be released in September for 5,800 yen, and is currently 45% complete. The page highlights conversation and battle screens for the first time. It describes the game as a spy organization where you engage in illegal activities. The game uses a 4-screen parallel sight screen system. You play as the boss of the spy organization Blitzstrahl, Blitzrule, and direct espionage agents to complete various missions. The page introduces Remy Evans, who is the operator in charge of information gathering and analysis. She is 28 years old, 162.5 centimeters tall, and weighs 44 kilograms. She is described as a capable office worker who hates being confined to the organization, but her personality is cheerful and she takes on complaints from the organization. She is the leader of the Light Team, in charge of information gathering and analysis in the field. Screenshots show gameplay with character stats and battle scenes and dialogues between characters. Remy is presented as providing advice to the player during missions, mentioning things like security equipment and guards in the field. One screenshot shows the mission objective is to pursue the street of mystery and fantasy. This page delves into the game Blitzsta, highlighting its conversation and combat elements. The game features communication events, where agents interact with the player, the boss, with varied dialogue and reactions based on player choices. Count and Fight showcases the strategic battle system, emphasizing tactical decision-making and utilizing agent skills, including combat techniques and special abilities. The game preview introduces the Blitzsta spy organization, where players take on the role of a client, and presents key client factions such as the terrorist group AURA, led by Alfred Millar-Saho, the arts and culture-focused AC&C with Helmut von Manstein, and the tech company Cyberlink and its representative Donald Yamaguchi. Helen Liusman, of Heltz Richivare, is also mentioned as a client. This page is an advertisement for the off-road racing game Buggy Heat. The ad highlights the game's wild off-road action and real-time driving motion. It boasts a driver training feature, where players can learn techniques and drivers grow as they play. The game supports 12 players, visual memory, modem play, and VGA output. There's also a promotional campaign offering original goods as prizes for Aero Dancing and Buggy Heat to 200 lucky winners. Prizes include MA1 jackets, caps, and QUO cards with game logos for both Aero Dancing and Buggy Heat. For Buggy Heat, specific prizes include t-shirts and Tricky Diamond logo caps.
This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Aero Dancing featuring Blue Impulse, a realistic flight simulation game where you can master aerobatic flight with the Blue Impulse team of the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force. The game is priced at 5,800 yen and features real aircraft and landscapes, aiming for ultimate realism, supervised by former pilot Hiroaki Fujiwara. The page also includes a recruitment advert for game development staff at CRI. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999. It proclaims the game as the first KOF title for the Dreamcast and emphasizes it as a dream match featuring popular characters like Kyo and Iori and many other SNK All-Stars. The game is slated for release in June, with the price to be determined. The page also highlights the Neo Geo Pocket Color game King of Fighters R2 and notes that data communication is possible between the Dreamcast and Neo Geo Pocket versions, allowing players to exchange data to gain special features and information. This page is the reader submission corner called Guru Powers in Dreamcast Magazine. It starts with an intro about Dreamcast Magazine and reader submissions, mentioning Dreamcast and Sega Mega Drive as popular consoles. The page has a section called Dream Plaza featuring reader submissions about their gaming experiences, highlighting Dreamcast online features and chatting. There's a Tokyo Game Show report titled Spring is a Season of Congratulations, where a reader shares their experience at the show, mentioning the Dreamcast and the game Jet Set Radio. Character profiles are introduced for Uzumaki Sister, Uzumaki Brother, and Uzumaki Cat, detailing their personalities and roles in the magazine's content. Brief reader submissions are included under sections like Nanami's Science, Hyudo Amari New Year's Greeting, and Chimidoro Yamashita, accompanied by illustrations. The content seems to be general reader contributions. Finally, there is a report on World Neverland 2 being ported to the Dreamcast, confirming its development for the console and mentioning characters like Nabarin and Ryo. This page features reader submissions and columns. The Uzumaki section includes letters from readers discussing topics like Dreamcast's email commercials and the naming conventions of sequel games. One reader mentions seeing Dreamcast email commercials and questions if people perceive the Dreamcast just as a game machine and if the email message is effective. Another reader discusses sequel titles and the numbering in game titles like Sakura Wars 2, suggesting clearer naming for sequels. Another reader expresses a desire for more realistic bike games, mentioning the lack of real bike sounds and suggesting specific bike types. The page also has Guru comic strips and Illustration Garden. The Illustration Garden section showcases fan art based on the theme Soul Calibur, featuring various characters from the game drawn by readers, including usernames like Wakatsuki R, Nikogusa, Yoneya, Kamabaru, Shinazaki Hiroshi, Takachin, and Tomaju. There is a spicy column section, which is a humorous take on spicy food. This page highlights reader submissions and artwork, starting with a section titled Big Shock, Bullfighter, featuring a comical image of a muscular man. Next is No Way, Tea Garden, a funny comic strip about tea leaves. Then there's Tokyo/H, showcasing fan art of anime-style characters. Fukuoka Prefecture/GO depicts stick figure comics. Salaryman Theater shows a cartoon skit. Yamaguchi Prefecture Pomegranate Suo features a cartoon character. Hiroshima Prefecture 30 Yen presents another stick figure comic. Character art continues with Osaka Prefecture Setsunia, Hokkaido Okuyama Futsukaro, Miyagi Prefecture Shiru, Miyagi Prefecture Shihaba Fumi, Kanagawa Prefecture Rui, Tokyo Saya, Hokkaido Kochikaze Hirarindo, and Oita Prefecture/Uzura, each featuring a different character design. Finally, there's an announcement for This Week is Shenmue Tournament 2, advertising a Shenmue tournament event. This page is the reader submission corner called Love Eve Cafe, which is themed around inner circle jokes and lighthearted submissions. Readers have sent in various drawings and short comics. There are submissions from Mie Prefecture featuring a girl and Sonic the Hedgehog, Hyogo Prefecture with a bearded man, Fukuoka Prefecture showing Mount Fuji, Tokyo with a samurai-like character, Saga Prefecture with Sonic and Chao creatures, Miyagi Prefecture with a chibi comic,
Tochigi Prefecture with anime characters and the word chocolate, and Osaka Prefecture with a skull character. There's a section titled Alien Forest and Next Door Hard are energetic, discussing reader feedback, mentioning both Saturn and Dreamcast. One reader talks about playing Cosmic Soldier, and another mentions Burning Rangers and Virtua Fighter 2. They discuss game difficulty and preferred genres. A comic strip called This Week's Three Siblings is also featured. Finally, the page includes submission guidelines for sending in illustrations and texts, and address details with a submission from Chiba Prefecture showing a realistic human face mask. This page is from the Something Yoshimatsu Theater manga series and appears to be a humorous take on the console wars. The comic starts by mentioning the popularity of American professional wrestling and asks if people are aware of it. It then references TV programs like Denpa Shonen and World Pro Wrestling. The story unfolds with a character wearing a 32 on their chest, possibly representing the Dreamcast, who seems to be in a conflict. There are sound effects and expressions of shock and anger. At one point, the character is hit and mentions Sega Saturn and Sony, suggesting a direct comparison between the two companies. The comic ends with the 32 character determined to show the results of his training in what seems to be a comedic and exaggerated rivalry. The next page is titled Weekly Reading Material Planning Page and features an article called Cool Otaku Talk, how to make otaku talk cool and get it across to people who don't understand it. This article is part of a series called Mojimimo Number 20. The article discusses how to communicate otaku interests in a way that is appealing and understandable to an otaku. It criticizes the idea that seeking deep experiences in superficial ways, like suddenly deciding to go to India, will make someone popular. The author uses the example of visual kei musicians who openly embrace their otaku side and express it genuinely, contrasted with those who try to force a certain image to be popular. The article emphasizes the importance of genuine experience and originality when talking about otaku interests, particularly games. It suggests that game otaku accumulate experience through their gaming habits and understanding what makes a game truly enjoyable. The article argues that being able to articulate why a game is interesting with your own words, based on genuine experience, is key to making otaku talk cool and communicating it effectively to others. It also touches on the idea that superficial or forced attempts at communication, like just listing data or bragging about game knowledge, are not effective. The author, Hitoshi Nimura, is presented as an AV male actor, director, and author of the book Everything is for Popularity. He encourages readers to share their thoughts and opinions on the column via mail or email. This page features the Garakuda Summit Operation column, specifically the 24th and final installment. The text reflects on the conclusion of this series, noting it's the first time the author has ended a magazine column on their own terms. They reminisce about the various topics covered over a year, including magazine renewals, the internet's rise, book publications, event production, and even personal events like getting married and having a child, all framed within the context of deep otaku culture. There's also a section titled Sotokanda Game Anzuruji Round 10 and Game Shop, Backside of the Backside Impulse Buying Trap is Strong, discussing the experience of visiting game shops in Akihabara, highlighting the impulse buying traps that entice customers. It describes the allure of entering a game shop and hearing voices of staff promoting games, leading to spontaneous purchases of titles that catch your eye. The article delves into the shop's strategies to encourage impulse buys, comparing it to fish bait for unsuspecting customers. It also discusses the importance of the shop's location, environment, and staff presentation in creating a compelling shopping experience. Finally, there is a small advertisement for Murakami Takashi produces Mysterious Country of Dobikun Holding, an art exhibition by Takashi Murakami featuring his DOB character, taking place at Parco Gallery in Shibuya Parco. This page highlights the voice actress Minami Omi and her role in the Dreamcast game Revive Rebirth. The article discusses her initial surprise at the character of Chihiro Hojo, a quiet and mysterious middle school girl, and her experience recording the voice work. It also mentions a staff photo celebrating the game's release, and teases a detail about the character designs having Bakuban figures. Minami Omi's profile is featured, listing her birthday, zodiac sign, and notable voice roles in anime such as Martian Successor Nadesico as Ruri Hoshino, The Vision of Escaflowne as Merle, and Sakura Wars as Kana Kirishima. She is currently voicing Shimajiro.
Omi's illustration room showcases her drawings and notes about internet, TV, and radio dramas. There is also a comic strip depicting her daily life as seen by her dog Burin, humorously showing her tiredness from working on Shimajiro. Finally, the page encourages readers to send in letters and questions for a chance to be featured in the magazine, and to interact with Minami Omi through her radio program, Minami Omi's Sensei's Time, which started on April 11th. This page is a column titled Black or Black, by Fumio Kurokawa, discussing the nature of game journalism, particularly sensationalist reporting akin to tabloids like Tokyo Sports. The article mentions an acquaintance, Mr. K, who works in software, and talks about the shift in the games industry and the changing role of game magazines. The author touches upon the idea of scoop journalism in gaming, and the balance between sensationalism and truth, referencing how game magazines might publish exaggerated or unconfirmed stories to attract readers, similar to the Tokyo Sports approach, even if it damages credibility in the long run. The author seems to be reflecting on the state of game journalism at the time, and its potential pitfalls. This page is an anime check-it section featuring Space Pirate Mito's Great Adventure, a fast-paced and hilarious adventure anime. The anime was broadcast on TV Tokyo until March, and is currently airing on TV Osaka and other stations. The first volume of the series is set to be released on April 25th on VHS and Laserdisc, containing the first episode and bonus video content. The story is about Mito, who looks like a 10-year-old girl, but is actually a 2200-year-old space pirate, and the chief of the Galaxy Patrol. She battles space pirates near Earth, and involves a junior high school student named Hikari Gengu. Key characters include Mito, voiced by Tomoko Kawakami, Hikari Gengu, also voiced by Tomoko Kawakami, who is Mito's disguised mother, Mitsukuni Gene, voiced by Akio Otsuka as Mito's aide, Futaba, voiced by Ayako Kawasumi as Mito's grandmother, and Galaxy Patrol members Toshigoro Mutsumi, voiced by Misa Watanabe, and Toshigoro Masatsuki, voiced by Yumiko Kobayashi, who are pursuing Mito. In the topics section, it discusses the popularity of figures among game and anime fans, mentioning figures from His and Her Circumstances, and Blue Submarine No. 6. The goods section promotes action doll figures including Arisa Rurukawa from To Heart, and Ruri Hoshino, Shaoren, from Martian successor Nadesico, Prince of Darkness, both scheduled for release. This page is showcasing anime recommendations and release information. It highlights Mobile Suit Gundam TV series, which is broadcast on Animax Channel 724 every week from Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., starting from April 13th. This Gundam TV series aired from 1979 to 1980 and is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. It mentions that the latest work, Turn a Gundam, has also started broadcasting. It also recommends checking Animax for Funimation anime. There are several anime releases advertised for April 25th, including Mobile Suit Gundam, the 08THMS Team Volume 10, Cowboy Bebop 5th Session, Cardcaptor Sakura Volume 8, Burst Angel Volume 11, and Voice Lugger Volume 1. Additionally, St. Luminous Mission High School File 5, Virus Buster Surge ACT-13, Small Giant Microman, Volumes 3 and 4, and Pia Carrot Iukoso. 2 Menu 3 are all advertised as being on sale, with release dates of April 23rd, April 1st, and April 23rd respectively. Finally, Detective Holmes, directed by Miyazaki, is recommended to watch on DirecTV, airing on Kid Station Channel 276 on May 5th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. This page features an article promoting the new album, 99 Super Big Brother Legend Best and Super Remix, by game music composer Kuji Hayama, released on April 23, 1999. The article mentions that pre-orders for the album exceeded initial pressings. Hayama reflects on his 7-year career and 10 albums, expressing gratitude to fans. He discusses the song Metal Bat No. 1 from the album, stating it expresses his frustration with society and how he feels like shouting, "The world is full of idiots." He also touches upon his image and desire to be seen as a cool, Yakuza-style older man. The page also includes radio appearance information for Kuji Hayama and mentions game news. He will be a guest on radio shows including Tanaka Katsumi's Game D Show on Musashi no FM 78.2 MHz and Mandarake 815 FM 81.5 MHz. Game news includes information about Square's Front Mission 3 and Banpresto's Super Robot-related game. This page is an advertisement for Kuji Hayama's new album titled
99 Cho Aniki Precious Legend Best and Super Remix. It announces that the album sold out on the same day of release, and thanks fans for making it a hit. Kuji Hayama states that this album might be his last, but he always pours his soul into his work, making each album as if it were the last. He mentions that he feels happy to live like a samurai in modern times, expressing his soul through music in an era where hearts are becoming poor. He urges listeners to experience the sound created by a man who has found richness in his own heart. The ad includes a track list featuring songs like Hummer Self-Defense Corps Theme, Muscle Bomber Entrance Theme, Live, Muscle Bomber Live, Brother and Me The News, Live, World's Muscle Brothers, 99 Vocal, and Oh Yeah! Long version. The album is priced at 3,059 yen and is released by NEC Interchannel. The next page is from the bi-weekly column titled Iroiro Desu Yoku, and it's episode number 10, focusing on A Certain Day at the Tokyo Game Show. It's a manga-style report of the author's experience at the Tokyo Game Show. The author describes arriving at the station and finding a huge crowd. They mention going to the talk show and seeing the Sega booth. They are interested in the talk show and what new games are being introduced. The author humorously misunderstands one area to be a mom and son event. They then describe the crowded venue and the atmosphere. They talk about game booths, wondering what new games are there. There's mention of merchandise corners where they purchased Teleka cards. They reflect on how this was likely their first and last time at the game show, and express dislike for crowds. The author concludes by mentioning that Juim's Bonden at the Academy Awards is also happening, marveling at these events occurring simultaneously. This page is an advertisement for a store called Santa, selling Dreamcast and Saturn games and peripherals. It lists a wide range of new and pre-owned software and hardware for both consoles, with prices in yen. The ad mentions that they offer mail-order services and provides phone and fax numbers for ordering. There are lists of game titles for Dreamcast and Saturn, separated into new releases and older titles. The ad also details shipping costs and payment methods. This page is an order form and questionnaire for readers of Dreamcast Magazine. It explains how to fill out the reader survey postcard to send in. The form includes questions about gender, age, occupation, and which magazines are read. It also asks for opinions on the current issue's cover and what genres of Dreamcast games readers are interested in. Readers are asked about the most and least interesting articles from the current issue based on a listed table of contents. The survey also asks about the hardware readers currently own and plan to purchase, listing consoles like Dreamcast, PlayStation, Saturn, Nintendo 64, Game Boy, PCFX, WonderSwan, and accessories such as various controllers. Readers are asked to select Sega Saturn games they intend to buy from a provided list, which features titles like With You Staring at You, J-League Exciting Stage 5, Street Fighter 03, Sonic 3D Blast, Flicky's Island, and World Neverland Plus or Rudo Kingdom Story. Similarly, readers are prompted to choose Dreamcast software they plan to purchase from another list, which includes games like Idol Janshi wo Tsukuchou, Let's Create an Idol Mahjong Player, Akihabara Denu Gumi Patapais, ESPIONAGENTS, Grandia 2, Seaman the Healing Pet, Frame Gride, and Sonic Adventure. This page is an advert showcasing a wide selection of games available for the WonderSwan handheld console. It highlights a title information filling and mentions a price of 590 yen. The games listed cover various genres and include titles such as Chocobo's Mysterious Dungeon, Densha de Go, which is a train driving simulator, Shin Nippon Pro Wrestling Tukon Ritsuden, Wonder Stadium for sports fans, and the classic puzzle game Puyo Puyotsu. Strategy and simulation games are represented with Nobunaga's Ambition and Sengokushi for WonderSwan, alongside Mahjong Toryumon. For digital pet enthusiasts, there's Digital Monster Virman, WonderSwan, and Shanghai Pocket. Music games are represented by Goraku O Tango and Beatmania for WonderSwan. Action and adventure titles include SD Gundam Emotional Jam, Ganso Jajimaru-kun, Super Robot Wars Compact, Klonoa Moonlight Museum, Metarope Perfect Edition, Space Invaders, Last Stand, Tekken Card Challenge, Vadoit's Blade, Chaos Gear, Anchor's Field, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Angelic Renovation, Pocket Fighter, and Crazy Climber. Puzzle and board games are also featured with Trans Collection Swan, Neon Pro, Mahjong Renmei Kuin Tetsuman, Puzzle Bobble, Detective Conan, and Magical Drop. The advert emphasizes the breadth of gaming experiences available on the WonderSwan. This page is an article previewing the Dreamcast game Expendable, a shooting game also known as Millennium Soldier. Expendable internationally. The tagline emphasizes extreme action and a direct sensory impact. The article highlights the game's focus on the thrill of destruction and slaughter, stating that players take on the role of expendable, a living weapon, to combat aliens on an occupied planet. The game is described as intense and violent, where the only rule is kill or be killed. The preview mentions that the game is currently 60% complete, with diverse enemy characters and a wow factor even at this stage, according to Imagineer's PR. The game is slated for a June release at 5,800 yen and supports 12-player cooperative play.
The checkpoint section emphasizes two key aspects. First, it praises the game for bringing the essence of shooting gameplay into a 3D space, focusing on dodging enemy fire and skillful shooting. It highlights the tension and sense of virtual pleasure created by the beautiful graphics and impactful presentation. Secondly, it notes the game's strategic depth, where nearly everything in the environment is destructible and can be used to create pathways, hiding spots, or even as weapons. This allows for a wide range of strategic approaches using terrain and weapon combinations.
This page from the magazine focuses on the game's weapon and enemy design. It highlights the weapons system, emphasizing the strategic use of various heavy weapons like the shotgun and rocket gun, which can be picked up and stocked in the field. The game encourages players to adapt their weapon choices to enemy types and numbers, a key strategic element. The boss enemy section introduces the diverse nature of bosses, some biological, some mechanical, requiring unique tactics to defeat. The example given is the Stage 1 boss, described as an insect-like creature. The page also mentions shooting support items, such as the bit, which orbits the player and supports attacks, and the laser sight for aiming assistance. The expendable thoughts section delves into the game's core appeal, the cathartic joy of destruction, emphasizing the balance between chaos and strategy. It notes the game features Sieg-rendered backgrounds and pits players against alien enemies. Finally, various gimmicks are mentioned, indicating stage-specific puzzles and challenges that require specific items or environmental interactions to solve, suggesting cooperative play enhances the experience. The bottom text roughly translates to, "The mourning of the alien community is something else," likely a tagline emphasizing the alien conflict in the game. This page provides a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Redline Racer, focusing on the Mount Etna course for point scoring. The guide highlights 3 key courses for point accumulation in the game. The page showcases the Mount Etna course, describing it as a beautiful silver world with steep cliffs and narrow roads, emphasizing the need for precise accelerator control and high acceleration bikes. The guide features a course map marked with points of interest and screenshots demonstrating how to navigate these sections effectively to gain points. It recommends using the Avanti bike for this course due to its high acceleration, suggesting it is well suited for the narrow and winding layout of Mount Etna. The page also details the specifications for 2 bikes, Avanti and Fire Aster X35, comparing their acceleration, top speed, handling, and braking capabilities, and concludes that Avanti is the best machine for this course. The game is advertised as 100% complete and scheduled for release on April 29th, priced at 5,800 yen and categorized as a racing game from Imagina. This page showcases 2 courses from a racing game, likely a Dreamcast title focusing on motorcycles, called Seafall Bay and Castle Raceway, both under the Normal Madness GP mode. Seafall Bay is described as a scenic coastal course set around islands, with sandy beaches and numerous gaps on the track. It's recommended to use the Firestar X35, focusing on top speed as there are no tight corners, advising players to avoid the gaps and go full throttle. Point attack tips highlight navigating corners near the water's edge from the outside, managing turbo usage before and after gap jumps, approaching a final gap diagonally, and taking the inside line on a corner before an archway. A key attention point is that hitting gaps on unpaved surfaces while cornering or using turbo can lead to crashes. Castle Raceway is presented as a unique artificial circuit demanding overall racing technique with hairpins, chicanes, and straights. Again, the Firestar X35 is recommended for its speed advantage on this track. Point attack tips advise using out-and-out lines for consecutive tight corners, utilizing turbo on a moderately long straight with gentle corners ahead, reducing speed and cutting inside chicanes, using out-and-out while braking for a right corner, conserving turbo for complex corners after a straight, and breaking through corners before a hairpin leading to another straight. This page is a special feature on Super Invention Boy Canapan, a game based on the popular anime of the same name, which is described as a creative RPG. It's being released by Sega and is set to launch on June 24th. This Dreamcast title allows you to raise the robot Kid, similar to a virtual pet, using the VM's built-in clock to schedule its activities. Depending on how you raise Kid, it can evolve into various types not seen in the anime. You can also use the VM's communication features to battle against friends' Kid robots. The game, Kid DC is a raising simulation game, and includes mini-games like Ox Game to relieve kids' stress. The game package, called DC of VM, is skeleton green, comes with stickers and Inventor's license. If you buy a Dreamcast, you also get a guidebook to the internet world of Canipan and Kid. The game was released on April 22nd and costs 2,980 yen and is compatible with the DC Link feature. This page introduces the Dreamcast game Super Invention Boy Canapan, which is based on the anime series but features an original story. The game is described as an RPG where you raise the main robot character, Kid. A key gameplay element is scheduling Kid's activities on an hourly basis, choosing from categories like sports, study, and daily life, which influences how Kid grows and develops into different types. The game allows for battles, including player versus player battles using the VMU. Different types of kids are highlighted, such as normal kid, iMale kid, muscle kid, and others, showing how their appearances change depending on training. The page also promotes related anime series and CD drama releases, mentioning a drama CD single and a drama CD series launch in June. This page is an advertisement for an aero dancing contest on the Dreamcast. The contest seeks to find the player with the most beautiful flight performance in aero dancing featuring Blue Impulse, which was released on March 4th and is an acrobatic flight simulation game compatible with the Puru Puru Pack and ASC2 mission stick. The contest has two categories: free flight department for solo play and multiplay department, judged by the organizers but open for public viewing. The grand prize is 100,000 yen for one person or team, with 10 runners-up receiving a special MA1 jacket and cap. Additionally, 50 participants will be randomly selected to win a special QUO card featuring art from the game and burger time. The advertisement emphasizes the online application process and the freedom players have in choosing aircraft and flight locations within the game. Aero dancing featuring Blue Impulse supports up to 4 players and VGA output. This page is an announcement for an aero dancing competition, split into free flight and multiplay categories. The free flight category is judged on single-player performance and skillful maneuvers, while the multiplayer category focuses on team-based performances. The page details the upload process for submitting replay data, involving preparing visual memory, obtaining an ID via email, user registration, and uploading through the Dreamcast browser. The submission period is from April 30th to May 13th. Judging is done in 3 stages by writers, editors, and finally by a former Air Self-Defense Force pilot. There's also information about ranking data and player name submissions, and the official Aero Dancing website address is provided for more details. This page is an advertisement for the second issue of GM Magazine. The main text expresses gratitude to readers, stating, "Thank you everyone, GM will continue." The page features several reader comments who have purchased the first issue. The feedback is generally positive, with readers praising the magazine as interesting and readable, appreciating the in-depth game analysis and factual articles. Some readers suggest improvements such as shorter length, clearer initial summaries, more color variation, and less niche content. One comment mentions finding the Gal Gravure surprisingly good, while another expresses interest in Konami being featured in future issues and suggests the magazine could be less rigid and more relaxed in its approach. The advert also includes an image of a Dreamcast VMU in a jeans pocket. This page is an index page for the Dreamcast Soft Complete Guide featuring 2 anime-style characters. It lists several games with their corresponding page numbers, acting as a contents page for the guide. The games highlighted are Super Speed Racing, Blue Stinger, Kita E, White Illumination, Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, The House of the Dead 2, Get Bass, and Nobunaga's Ambition. Records of military commanders with power-up kit. This page is an interview with Takashi Uryu,
the producer of Super Speed Racing. The article delves into the reasons behind choosing kart as the theme for the game and the development process. Uryu explains that kart was chosen because it was a motorsport category that hadn't been significantly explored in Japanese games before, contrasting it with F1 and rally games. He mentions the team's desire to create something authentic and the connection with Honda, which likely influenced the kart direction. The interview touches on the development challenges, particularly in making the game fun and engaging. They aimed for a realistic feel initially, but adjusted to prioritize user enjoyment and competitive racing. Uryu highlights that they focused on creating a game experience rather than a pure simulator. He mentions that creating oval courses was surprisingly difficult from a visual perspective, requiring ingenuity to make them interesting. The article also mentions that the development started about a year prior, and the team went to America for research, visiting Team Rahal and interviewing drivers and engineers to capture authentic engine sounds and driving feel. The page also provides game details, such as its release date being March 25th, priced at 5,800 yen, supporting 12 players, and compatibility with racing controllers and VGA boxes. Screenshots of the game interface are visible on the page. The article concludes by mentioning the game features a total of 19 courses and emphasizes the effort put into completing them. Kart. Flag to flag. Super speed racing in Japan. Aimed for realistic racing, emphasizing close competition and earned overtakes. Course design was challenging but made seamless by the Dreamcast. Narrow street courses and balanced oval courses were key. The game features an arcade mode with unlockable cars, including BMW and Supra versions, earned through championship mode completions. Although Michael Andretti is absent, team owner names are included. Racing driver Fukuro Moto's advice was instrumental in development. The game offers wide appeal with deep gameplay, highlighted by replay data and VM screen visuals. The developer summarizes the game as amazing, fast, and competition. The interview is from March 6, 1999. This page reports on the 99 FedEx Championship Series Round 2 Firestone Firehawk 500 event. It highlights Honda engines dominating pole position in the kart race. The article explains that kart qualifying differs from F1 as each car takes timed runs individually. It mentions Firestone and Goodyear tires as the two types used in the race, noting Goodyear getting pole position, PP. The page also covers the SSR event at Twin Ring Motegi, running from March 27th to 28th, featuring Honda Welcome Plaza Aoyama. This event showcased real race cars, SSR attractions, and game tournaments. SSR Girls and Twin Ring Motegi Angels were present, bringing excitement to the venue. On April 6th, Honda engine drivers such as Jay Vassar and P. Tracy were scheduled to appear, further building anticipation. There is a section about a Twin Ring Motegi event from April 8th to 10th, featuring a Dreamcast booth, with SSR and other DC software. The event offered touch-and-try demos, SSR game tournaments, and special guest talk shows and photo sessions with SSR girls. On April 9th, racer Hideki Muto, also a game advisor for SSR, was expected to appear after qualifying, to the delight of users. The page mentions the discovery of the DC logo at the largest booth in the venue, located at Turn 4. Images show the racing cars, tires, and the Dreamcast booth area, with people playing games. This page is a race report of the Kart Twin Ring Motegi race, which was held alongside an SSR event to showcase the Dreamcast game Sega Touring Car Championship. The race itself was chaotic from the start, with Doga Ferran spinning out right before the green flag, causing a full course caution. Fernandez eventually won the race after starting from pole position and maintaining a steady drive throughout. Other notable events included Guglio Kaiman leading but facing issues during a pit stop, and G. Moore spinning out near the end and dropping to 4th place. Mario Andretti, described as Mr. Kart, finished in 5th place, despite some bad luck with pit timing and engine trouble. The SSR event, related to Sega Touring Car Championship, was held to recreate the excitement of kart racing. The event featured special guests, including Tomikazu Tomikawa, a TV personality, alongside race queens and drivers. A Sega Touring Car Championship game tournament was also held, highlighting the game's appeal in connection to the real-world racing event. The article praises the immersive experience of kart racing and the Sega Touring Car Championship game, suggesting it successfully captures the thrill of the sport. This page is a strategy guide for Blue Stinger, focusing on the power plant stage, Act 11, with the objective of restoring power. The guide details activating the emergency power switch in the control room and using the console to identify 4 fault locations. It then explains how to acquire a crank to open a specific door and collect 2 power cables from a room with heater enemies, suggesting the shotgun is effective here. After getting the cables, the guide directs players to use the crank to access the B1F area and then to collect all power cables, including 2 more from another location, using the fault locations identified earlier as a guide. The stun rod is mentioned as a helpful weapon nearby for this section. The guide provides a step-by-step walkthrough for the initial power restoration objective in the game. This page is a walkthrough guide for the game Dino Crisis, covering the power plant 1F to B1F area. The guide provides a map of the area with numbered locations indicating items and enemy placements. Location 6 shows the stun rod, a powerful close-range weapon. Location 11 shows the 3-shot shotgun magazine. Location 8 indicates the Bermuda bank card. Sections 7 and 8 explain how to obtain the stockroom key, which is located near a dead body in Area 7 and opens the door to Area 8. Sections 9, 10, and 11 guide the player through a puzzle involving repairs. Section 9 describes the insulating gloves found in the stockroom, which are needed to handle cables safely. Section 10 explains how to replace burned cables at 4 locations using the insulating gloves and pressing the A button in front of the console panels. Once repaired, Section 11 states that the power will be restored and the player should revisit previously locked doors, specifically door 11, to obtain the condenser room key. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Dino Crisis, focusing on levels 2F and 3F of the power plant area. The guide provides maps for these floors, marked with numbered points of interest. Tips include acquiring the lifecycle item early on and navigating the narrow corridors cautiously to avoid enemies. It details different types of dinosaur enemies encountered, referred to as dino sites, including firefly, human, blood bee, and killer bee variations. Key items like the Omega key and condenser room key are mentioned as crucial for progression. The objective is to repair the power plant and escape the area. Screenshots illustrate the gameplay environment, showing tight corridors and encounters with dinosaur enemies. The guide advises players to proceed carefully and provides information on item locations and enemy types specific to these floors. This strategy guide details boss fight tactics in Dino Crisis. Section 5 covers the Fire Friday Dino Site boss, responsible for the power plant malfunctions. The strategy recommends using a stun rod followed by firearms due to the presence of weaker enemies, emphasizing methodical attacks. Section 6 describes a story moment where, after defeating Fire Friday Dino Site, Elliot and Dogs receive a garbled message from Johnny, creating a sense of mystery. Section 7 focuses on the Club Dino Site boss, encountered after escaping the plant. The guide recommends aggressive close-range combat, with options for ranged attacks like bazookas when the boss is guarding. Character health management, character switching, and the use of bazooka or railgun are advised, with Dog's weapons being particularly effective, though risky. Retreating is suggested when health is low. This page is a walkthrough guide for the Dreamcast game Dino Crisis, focusing on the intermission, power plant labo area section. It guides players through specific steps. First, obtaining the Jeep key after clearing the club facility. Then, it describes navigating through a gate to reach the brain area. A significant part discusses the character Janine encountered in the brain area and her ambiguous role. Finally, it details how to use the Jeep to proceed towards the labo area. The page includes a map of the Lawn Road area highlighting item locations and enemy placements, along with a caution note about preparation and resource management, emphasizing collecting keys and cash cards for the journey. This page is a strategy guide for the laboratory area in the game Dino Crisis. It's focusing on the initial events within the lab. The guide starts by directing players to the laboratory area, explaining the initial encounter after entering from the landing area, and describing the reception area, which is designed to feel like a research facility's entrance. The guide then highlights a clean checkpoint, indicating that players will be stopped here to prevent contamination within the research facility. To overcome this, the guide suggests taking a bath to remove dust, and mentions finding a clean suit in the changing room, located at point number 3 on the map. The text also humorously notes that character Dog's large physique might make finding suitable clothes a challenge. The page features a map of the laboratory area 1, pointing out key locations. It also lists the contents of an automatic vending machine in the area, offering items like hashi short, hashi long, sandwiches, hot dogs, hamburgers, sushi plates,
pasta plates, and steak plates, all priced in dollars. The guide mentions characters Elliot and dogs as being part of the story progression at this point in the game. This strategy guide covers the Dreamcast game Kita-E, White Illumination, focusing on achieving the best endings for all heroines in the summer story arc. Favorability, a hidden parameter influencing events and endings, is crucial. Dialogue choices and bath scenes significantly impact favorability, leading to important events like sightseeing offers. Aim for medium luck for summer endings and great luck for winter. Achievement level tracks content completion, images, sounds, increasing with multiple playthroughs and correct choices. Balancing choices between heroines is vital for maximizing this level, even while pursuing a specific character. Saving before decisions and reloading is recommended to optimize choices and achievement progress. The guide includes screenshots of the in-game interface and scenes. This Tsukino Crossroads strategy guide focuses on winning over Sayaka Kazino by demonstrating masculinity and proactivity. Players must be reliable, build trust, and make confident, playful choices. Sayaka, despite her sometimes forceful demeanor, is honest and good-hearted. The guide outlines key summer events. On Day 2, meet Sayaka at the Susukino building and take her away from a bad group. Day 6, also at the Susukino building, involves a UFO catcher incident with Yakuza-like men. Helping Sayaka is crucial for relationship development, even if it results in a scolding. Failure to intervene ends the relationship path. She'll later treat the player's injuries at Kitakami Wharf. The guide also references events on days 7, 8, and 9, along with screenshots of in-game interactions. This guide provides strategies for a dating sim featuring Kanen Nanase, specifically focusing on Day 8. Key events include inviting Kanen for ramen at Hokkaido, emphasizing a positive response to her suggestion. The guide then details a trip to Nijo Market for ingredients, with Beetlebaum Cafe as a backup. Players are advised to purchase melon and vegetables, potentially encountering a familiar face. A section on Beetlebaum's eye patch mystery instructs players to investigate Kanen's eye patch at the hotel and at CBS, offering specific dialogue prompts. Finally, a hotel buffet outing allows for learning about Kanen's background. After Kanen leaves, players must revisit Hokkaido to secure a date, potentially receiving a phone call for an invitation to a Sapporo factory pool. This page features Kanasaka Kayori and showcases 3 recommended swimsuits for her. It describes a scenario where you meet Kayori at Sapporo Station, and she's surprisingly without her usual eye patch. This leads to a deeper conversation. The context moves to choosing a swimsuit for a pool visit at Sapporo factory. 3 swimsuit options are presented: a white slip-style swimsuit, a rumored black bikini, and a red one-piece swimsuit. You get to choose after seeing all 3. This page is a strategy guide focusing on how to win over the character Shina Kaoru in the Dreamcast game Memories Off. It highlights the importance of persistence and knowing when to make a move to capture her heart. The guide starts from Day 1, advising players to introduce themselves to Kaoru on the airplane and, importantly, get her name. Days 4 through 6 are about meeting Kaoru at the Hokkaido University bench, mentioning that she will be reading a book and you should engage in conversation. Day 7 describes a crucial event where protecting Kaoru leads to your hospitalization, stemming from a traffic accident event on Day 4. It also talks about how even if Kaoru seems distant, you should persist. The guide suggests that days 8 and 9 in the hospital can surprisingly be enjoyable, with opportunities to spend time with her. Finally, it points out the significance of Decoupon citrus fruit during the hospital visit, explaining why it's relevant, as Kaoru's father brings it when visiting. This page is focused on the Dreamcast game Kita-E, White Illumination with You. It highlights gameplay scenarios for Day 10 and 11, with Day 10 featuring an Italian restaurant date, and Day 11 involving a drive in an open car with the character Kaori. There's a section discussing game choices, mentioning that choosing Kaori in a fireworks festival will close off the summer ending, indicating branching paths and multiple endings in the game. The page also announces a Hudson fan page fan contest for Kita-E, White Illumination with You, seeking fan letters and illustrations. There are 2 contest categories: Love Message Contest and Fashion Illustration Contest. Judges for the contest are listed, including Hiroi Oji, original creator and general producer, Nochi, character designer, and voice actresses, Chiba Sayako, voice of Haruno Natsuki, and Hirohashi Yuka, voice of Kawaii Ayu. Prizes for the contest include signed illustrations from the judges and special premium telecards. The submission deadline for the contest is April 30th. The page is encouraging fans to participate and send in their letters and illustrations related to Kita E, White Illumination with You. This page reveals hidden elements in the Dreamcast version of Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes. It first details Onslaught mode, explaining how to unlock and play as Onslaught. It lists Onslaught's moves in two forms, first form and second form, highlighting special moves like Mini Sentinel Bomb, Magnetic Tempest, and Hypergravitation for the first form, and simpler moves like Punch, Beam, and Dash Punch for the second form. The page then discusses MSH Hulk, a Hulk variant with different super armor abilities and area finishing moves, and Lilith-style Morrigan, a Morrigan variant with changes to her special moves and hyper combos reminiscent of Lilith from Vampire Savior. Instructions are given on how to use these hidden characters, suggesting specific button inputs. Screenshots showcase gameplay with Onslaught, MSH Hulk, and Lilith-style Morrigan in action. This game guide provides strategies for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 characters. It details Hyper Armor War Machine's defensive focus and High-Speed Venom's fast, offensive playstyle, including move commands. Rolchan is introduced as a Mega Man-like character, with unique projectiles, listing her signature moves. Shadow Lady, similar to Chun-Li, features new special and hyper combos with command listings. The guide also covers special partner selection, outlining how to choose partners like Super Soldier, Arthur, and Colossus, detailing button combinations for selection, and recommending Colossus as a strong choice. It covers the partner selection method, including roulette selection and the one-match limitation. This guide provides a walkthrough for Route A of The House of the Dead 2's 5th chapter, Dawn. It details enemy encounters, including the types and numbers of zombies players will face, like Ricky's, Peter's, and boss enemies Judgment and Hierophant, with accompanying screenshots. Important notes emphasize anticipating ambushes, memorizing enemy appearances, especially fast zombies, and quickly eliminating Peter by targeting his chest. Rapid reloading is crucial. The strategy for Judgment and Hierophant remains consistent with prior encounters. The guide also offers strategies for the Magician boss fight. It highlights the Magician's exposed muscle areas as weak points and describes 3 attack patterns. A. Warp right pointing arrow light bullet. B. Warp right pointing arrow charge. And C. Light bullet attack from above. Specific tactics are provided for each pattern, including aiming at the feet after warping for pattern A, and shooting the right foot continuously during pattern C. The number of warps distinguishes between attack patterns A and B. This page is an article focused on providing strategies for the Dreamcast game Confidential Mission, known as Original Sin in Japan. It highlights the importance of countering the enemy Eric and defeating the final boss. The page presents a walkthrough flowchart titled Route A, which lists enemy encounters like Franklin and Lance soldiers, along with Eric encounters and a tower enemy. Screenshots visually guide the player through these encounters. There's a dedicated Boss Emperor section detailing the boss's weak point, located within the red light in its chest, and describes 3 attack patterns: Crystal Attack, Boss Form Attack, and Body Blow Attack, providing tips for dealing with each, emphasizing accuracy and continuous fire. The article advises players to aim for the boss's weak point and utilize precise shooting to overcome the Emperor's varied attacks. It also notes that after defeating Eric, players can reach a specific room if they rescued all civilians throughout the game up to Chapter 4. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Get Bass. It focuses on the Lake Crystal Dew fishing spot and provides tips for different weather conditions and times. For fine or cloudy weather, the KV area is recommended, suggesting using deep crank and spinnerbait lures in deep water and buzzbait or popper in shallow areas. When it's raining, the REED area is highlighted as the best spot, advising players to target shallow waters regardless of the time of day, emphasizing that bass activity increases in the rain. The guide shows in-game screenshots of these locations and lure selections to illustrate the advice. The next page is a strategy guide for the fishing game, likely Sega Bass Fishing. Although the exact title is not explicitly mentioned on this page, focusing on a secret falls area stage, the guide reveals the conditions to unlock this stage. You must achieve first place in the Lake Crystal Dew stage tournament. The best time to fish in the falls area is indicated as any time except noon, 10:00-14:00, and the advice is to fish in deep water. Specific locations within the falls area are highlighted: the bridge area, the cave area, and the basin area. For each location, recommended lures are suggested. For the bridge area, straight worms, grubs, and paddletails are recommended. For the cave, spinnerbaits and buzzbaits are suggested. For the basin, bass baits and deep crankbaits are advised. The guide also mentions that shallow water fishing is effective on rainy days using pencil baits, poppers, and buzzbaits, as the sound of these lures attracts bass to the surface. Finally, the guide mentions a sonic lure, a special lure that is effective like a deep crankbait and catches fish well. The page emphasizes that it is surprisingly effective. This page focuses on Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness with Power-Up Kit, a historical simulation game for the Dreamcast. It highlights strategic gameplay elements, particularly concerning firearms. Teppu. The page presents a scenario featuring conversations between key figures Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Akechi Mitsuhide. These dialogues likely showcase in-game events or strategic discussions. Screenshots display the game map, city management screens, and character stats, giving a glimpse into the game's interface. Character portraits are shown for Oda Nobunaga, described as the flag-bearer of the Oda family, and slightly selfish, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a go-between known for his catchphrases and calm demeanor, and Akechi Mitsuhide, who is presented as enigmatic and perhaps harboring hidden intentions towards Nobunaga. Finally, there is a Nobunaga's Ambition power-up column that delves into the historical Honnoji incident, questioning why Akechi Mitsuhide betrayed Nobunaga, suggesting in-game motivations and historical background. It touches on theories and interpretations of this pivotal event in Japanese history. This page seems to be a strategy guide focused on castle sieges in a historical Japanese setting, likely for a simulation game. Characters Nobunaga, Mitsuhide, and Hideyoshi are featured in dialogue discussing military and strategic topics related to castle conquests and the state of Japan. The page highlights various castle types like Inner Castle, Tachibana Mountain Castle, Hot Spring Castle, etc., and details the advantages of conquering each, such as access to training for different units like foot soldiers, archers, and cavalry, and the benefits of trading with merchants. There's a section that seems to discuss the Road of Castles as a difficult path, and another dramatic section titled The Great Six Demon Kings Pray to Honnoji Temple. Screenshots display in-game interfaces showing maps, character stats, and what appears to be battle scenarios. Notably, one screenshot near the bottom right includes the text Sengoku Taisen, suggesting this guide might be related to a game of that title or a similar historical war simulation game set in the Sengoku period. The next page highlights the Dreamcast horse racing game, My Trackman. It's advertised as a digital horse racing newspaper tie-up, costing 6,800 yen and offering information and simulations for one player. The page details how to read race predictions using the software, emphasizing time differences between horses to gauge race characteristics. An article titled, Experiment! My Trackman Oka Show Prediction Battle features two characters, Yukito and Masao, using the software to predict the Oka Show race. They discuss horse racing and the software's capabilities. The page shows both Yukito's and Masao's predictions in table format, outlining their horse selections and odds. The final section reveals the race results, likely to compare against the predictions made using My Trackman. The digital horse racing newspaper My Trackman analyzes the 59th Oka Show race, predicting a God Inthamanif victory. The feature uses a horse racing game simulation and presents horse information, like odds and popularity. A story follows characters Yukito and Masao as they discuss the race and place bets, with Yukito relying on My Trackman's prediction and Masao making his own choices. The race unfolds with commentary, and Masao's bet, Steiger, starts slowly. The actual race results differ from the prediction. Primo Dean wins, Fusei Air Adele places second, and God Inthalif finishes fourth. Steiger comes in 12th. The feature highlights Yuichi Fukunaga's first GI win. Despite the inaccurate prediction, My Trackman still helped narrow down potential winners. This page is from Sunrise Robot of CG World, Volume 11, focusing on the anime Giant Gorg. It features character profiles including Yu Tagami, a 13-year-old boy who is the main character and a researcher on Austral Island, and Rod Balmora, the son of Gale's director Roy Balmora, who seeks the secrets of Gorg. The page details Gorg as a giant robot appearing in the TV anime Giant Gorg, broadcast from April to September 1984. It mentions Gorg was created by aliens 30,000 years ago and is revered as a god by the islanders. The data section provides Gorg's specifications. Name, height, 13.5 meters. Weight, 12.5 tons. Weapons including an 180 mm gun, rocks and missiles, and pilot, Yu Tagami. Orientations. It notes Gorg's unique ability to act independently. The page promotes the opening of the official website and popularity poll. This page is part of the Dreamcast Peripherals story series, specifically focusing on the ASC2 mission stick. This article, titled Challenge to Paradigm, delves into the design perspective and the journey of the mission stick, from its initial concept to its final product form. It highlights the development of this peripheral, drawing a parallel to the analog mission stick for the Sega Saturn, released in 1995, which was also developed by ASC2. The article gives technical specifications for the mission stick, including its model number ASC1305MS, dimensions of 340 mm width, 245 mm length, and 120 mm height. It also mentions the weight of 1,200 grams, a 2 meters cable length, and a price of 7,600 yen excluding tax. The piece seems to be an in-depth look at the creation of this unique Dreamcast controller. This page is about the development story of the Dreamcast ASC2 Mission Stick Controller. The article title is Designs Akuna's Locus Dreamcast Peripheral Equipment Story, Challenge to Paradigm. It details the design philosophy and the development process of the controller, highlighting the concept of the analog mouse stick. The article features interviews with Okamoto Masakazu from ASC2's Entertainment Company Product Development Department, who was in charge of the project. The article explains that the basic research for the controller started about 2 years prior to the magazine's publication. The initial concept was unexpected and described as wild.
The development team aimed to create a controller that combined the precision of a mouse with the feel of a stick. Several design prototypes are shown, labeled C, B, A, D, E, illustrating the evolution of the controller's form factor, from earlier, more radical designs to the final product. The article emphasizes the dedication and obsession of the development team in pursuing this unique design. The text mentions that Sega requested a more orthodox type of controller, but ASC2 persisted with their mouse stick concept, believing it offered superior control and reduced fatigue for long play sessions. The ASC2 Mission Stick is presented as a product of extensive research and a commitment to innovative design for the Dreamcast. This page is about the technical approach and development process behind the Mission Stick, which aimed to be the best input device. It details the trilander process of creating this controller. Initially, the innovative design was presented to ASC2 and Sega, who approved of the strange design concept after testing prototypes and confirming the mouse stick's usability. The development faced challenges beyond basic electrical issues, requiring delicate and advanced technology to achieve high precision. Overcoming electrical noise from household appliances was a significant hurdle, requiring Sega's cooperation for product realization. The article highlights the iterative design phase, mentioning analog stick research starting in 1997 and the creation of prototypes for performance testing. The mouse stick was presented to Sega and ASC2 to demonstrate its high operability. Key design elements like the mouse stick shape, trigger spring strength, and stroke were refined. The elongated mouse part was designed to reduce hand fatigue during long play sessions. The placement of grips and buttons was carefully considered in relation to the internal mechanics. The goal was to create a stable and comfortable controller, considering factors like size to minimize hand fatigue and base stability. The development team aimed for the best analog input device through a process of continuous design refinement. The article concludes by acknowledging the challenges faced by software developers in utilizing such high-spec machines and peripherals. This page is about the design and functionality of Dreamcast peripherals, specifically focusing on ASC2 brand peripherals and their philosophy for creating them. It discusses how design is also considered a function and not just aesthetics, highlighting the visually appealing design of the visual memory unit and the human-centered engineering of the controllers. The page emphasizes the innovative peripherals created by ASC2, mentioning the Beatmania dedicated controller for PlayStation, PS, and the fishing controller, Suricon, also for PS, noting their popularity. It delves into the history of ASC2's peripherals, tracing it back to the ASC2 stick for the Famicom, FC, in 1985. Sato Narita, from ASC2 Entertainment is featured, discussing ASC2's approach to peripheral development, stating that they aim to create peripherals that enhance the gaming experience and go beyond just being functional. They focus on creating peripherals tailored to specific games, such as the Biohazard, Resident Evil, dedicated controller, emphasizing the importance of user experience and immersion. The ASC2 Mission Stick is also shown as an example of their design approach, with a focus on ergonomics and visual appeal. The Beatmania controller for PS and ASC2 Mission Stick Volume 7 are also highlighted with pricing details. This page is an article focusing on the ASC2 Mission Stick for the Sega Dreamcast. It discusses the design philosophy behind the Mission Stick, highlighting that it is designed as a general-purpose controller, not just for flight simulators, distinguishing it from traditional joysticks. The article features an interview with someone involved in the Mission Stick's development, explaining that they aim to create a controller compatible with various genres beyond just sky or racing games, including puzzle and music games. They mention the Dreamcast's sharp design and how the Mission Stick's design complements it, while still maintaining ASC2's product identity. They also mention the challenge of designing a peripheral for the Dreamcast and Sega's input in the development process. The page includes a table listing ASC2 game peripherals and their release years, categorized by console compatibility like FC, SFC, MD, PC, PS, SS, N64, and DC. It includes products like the ASC2 Stick, ASC2 Stick Turbo, Turbophile, ASC2 Stick Engine, Megapad, Fighter Stick, ASC2 Grip, and the ASC2 Mission Stick for Dreamcast, released in '99. The page also announces a present campaign where 30 people can win an ASC2 Mission Stick. Applicants need to send in a postcard with their details by a specified date in May '99. Images on the page showcase the ASC2 Mission Stick alongside other ASC2 peripherals like the Hypersteering 64 for Nintendo 64 and the Tsuricon fishing controller for PlayStation, demonstrating ASC2's range of controllers. The next page is part 2 of an interview with Itagaki-san about Kasumi, a key character in the original Dead or Alive and now in Dead or Alive 2. Itagaki-san discusses the game system for Dead or Alive 2. He mentions that Dead or Alive 2 embodies everything they wanted to achieve with the original Dead or Alive, especially in character modeling, emphasizing the importance of realistic and appealing character designs that avoid a cold, CG-like feel. The aim is to create natural and appealing characters, even in small details like clothing movement. He discusses the use of the NAOMI arcade board, stating it has excellent lighting and processing power, allowing for realistic real-time graphics. The background is designed to be realistic and balanced with the characters. Itagaki-san also mentions that Dead or Alive 2 uses the SH4 and PowerVR 2 chipset, and he expresses confidence in the physics engine. He highlights improvements in animation and movement, aiming for natural and fluid character motion, even in small details like accessories and clothing. The interview touches on the katana sword of Kasumi. He explains that in Dead or Alive 1, they didn't include the sword due to concerns about animation and gameplay implementation. However, in Dead or Alive 2, they've addressed these issues, and Kasumi now has a katana. He explains the challenges of making the sword feel natural and not just a decorative item. The page features screenshots of Kasumi, Aion, and Bass in Dead or Alive 2. This page is focused on Dead or Alive 2. It features an interview section discussing the game's stages, emphasizing that they are not just extras, but integral to the gameplay experience. The interview mentions the stages are designed with multi-start points, and they aim to create natural and realistic environments that influence the gameplay. The developers are trying to incorporate elements where character position and stage design are important factors. There's a screenshot of Kasumi in-game, highlighting the progress of the blue Kasumi character, suggesting it is near completion and will mark the game's finished state. Ida's Diary Volume 3 column talks about the effort put into refining Kasumi's design to make her even more appealing, moving away from just cool to prioritize cuteness. The column also mentions fan feedback and submissions are greatly appreciated and being used in development, with a call for more fan art and ideas for DOA 2,
including character popularity polls and favorite aspects of DOA. They are especially looking for illustrations and want to use fan content within the game and on their website. The page showcases fan submissions featuring new costumes for Tina and Lei Fang and a new character, CG. They are excited about the positive reception to Lei Fang's new costume from the Tokyo Game Show demo and plan to reveal more details about it next time. This page features an interview with William Sutherland, a French marine archaeology researcher and the host of the Seaman exhibition, discussing the Dreamcast game Seaman. The interview explores the concept of Seaman as a living media and delves into the philosophical ideas behind the game, touching upon civilization, biological archaeology, and digital culture. Sutherland describes Seaman as a medium that conveys knowledge to humans and discusses the game's themes of evolution and artificial life. Alongside the interview, there are sections featuring altered states, a Ken Russell film, and profiles of Bill Atkinson, the creator of HyperCard and Max drawing routines, and Alan Kay, a pioneer in personal computing, and the Vivarium project at Xerox PARC. These sections seem to be contextually related to the themes of media, technology, and artificial life explored in the Seaman interview. This page is about the exploration of AI and speech recognition in the context of computers, drawing parallels to HAL 9000 from 2001, A Space Odyssey. It discusses the evolution of computers to understand human language and intentions, mentioning early software examples like Photoshop and HyperCard, which were steps towards more intuitive interfaces. The page then transitions to a preview of the Dreamcast game Seaman, subtitled Forbidden Pet, highlighting it as an artificial life game in development. It is described as a game where players communicate with a virtual pet, Seaman, using voice recognition technology and a microphone. The game is positioned as a unique communication experience where players interact with Seaman using voice input, creating a new form of gameplay. It is mentioned that Vivarium is the developer behind this title. Finally, there is a section called CMAIA Times Project Recruitment, which appears to be a call for user submissions for a magazine section called CMania Times related to the game Seaman, encouraging readers to send in their thoughts and content about the game. This page reveals the results of the Puyo Puyon Beautiful Girl, Beautiful Boy contest, a popularity poll conducted by fans for the Puyo Puyon game, showcased in the magazine. The top spot went to Arle Nadja, described as the main character and strong as expected. She secured 294 votes. Second place was Skezo Wige, with 273 votes, praised for his cool and attractive character design, with comments highlighting his somewhat feminine charm. Which claimed third place with 266 votes, noted for her cute and doll-like appeal, different from her in-game appearance, but still charming. Draco Centauros landed in fourth place with 191 votes. Rulu is fifth with 181 votes, depicted as chasing after Satan, described as strong and cool. Pasikits. Further down the rankings, Carbuncle is in sixth place with 175 votes, and Chico in seventh with 169 votes. Sari is eighth with 165 votes, portrayed as a mermaid character, with comments wondering how she moves in the game considering she has no legs to walk. Kikimora is ninth with 153 votes, described with a cheerful and energetic smile. Satan is 10th with 152 votes, mentioned as a popular character. The small table at the bottom shows further rankings. 12th is Barbie, 13th is Arcean, 14th is Panati, and 15th is Dragon. Chico's Diary, Part 10, chronicles Chico's playful day with Dragon, where she teases him for his reluctance to enter the water. Manga panels follow, discussing magic and reality. A Puyo Puyon beauty contest, boys. Results are announced, with Arle Nadja winning and Chico surprisingly placing high. The competition was close, particularly in the top ranks, and Doppel Arlang gained significant votes despite a late entry. Finally, a Letters Wanted section calls for Puyo Puyon fan submissions of illustrations and text, offering Puyo Puyon goods as prizes. The submission address is provided, updated to SoftBank Publishing Company, Limited. This page is all about the Dreamcast version of Cybertrooper's Virtual On Oratorio Tangram version 5.4, marking the beginning of a new series of articles. The feature focuses on the enhancements and changes implemented in version 5.4 compared to the previous 5.2 version. Key improvements highlighted include an upgrade to close combat abilities with faster attacks and quicker steps,
emphasizing the importance of VARMR and its visibility on screen, a retuned shot performance system, and the removal of the Nagare technique, a high-speed movement tactic that is no longer effective. The page uses screenshots to illustrate these gameplay changes and provides insights into adapting to these new mechanics for players. The article aims to prepare players for the updated combat experience in version 5.4. This page introduces the Virturoid units featured in Cybertroopers Virtual On, version 3.3, and Cybertroopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram, version 5.4, in anticipation of the Dreamcast release. Virtual 3.3 showcases classic Virturoids like the balanced TEMJIN, the agile VIPR2, the heavily armored DORKAS, the missile-focused BELGDOR and BALBASBOW, the close combat APHARMD, the unique Fei-Yen, and the laser-centric Raiden. Ver 5.4 presents updated designs and new units. The revised TEMJIN, the transforming Cypher, the aggressive DORDRAY, the missile-heavy GRYSVOK, the adaptable BALBADOS, the barrage-type and sniper-type APHARMDS variants, the night-themed Fei-Yen KN, and the laser-focused Raiden. The page serves as a guide, highlighting each unit's strengths and features to prepare players for the game. This page is a feature introducing the renewed Temjin Mecha, designated MBV707G, from the Cybertroopers Virtual Elan series. It highlights this version as a high-performance standard unit. The page compares the new Temjin to the original, noting that while the original Temjin excelled in vertical expansion and focused on powerful bomb attacks, the new version is different. The main power of the new Temjin lies in its forward right weapon, RW. The feature also details version 5.4 Temjin, explaining that ground dash speed has improved, making evasion easier. Close-range center weapon, CW reach, is slightly shorter, and CW can no longer be used consecutively. As a trade-off, the right trigger weapon, RW, can now be charged while using CW, allowing for continuous attacks. The throwing motion has also been altered, making bombs easier to use to control the opponent. The Virtual Ion Works Oratan Developer Speak section provides developer commentary. It mentions that the new Temjin is recommended for beginner to intermediate players due to its straightforward usability. The developers note that while some attacks might be harder to land, they emphasize the importance of vertical turning and dash-based attacks for success with this version. They encourage players to experiment and master the new Temjin's capabilities. The text clarifies that LW refers to left weapon, left trigger input, RW to right weapon, right trigger input, and CW to center weapon, both triggers input. This page introduces the RVR-87 SpeciNF from Cybertroopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Ver 5.4. It is described as a renewed machine introduction, suggesting an update or new version of the game. The page details the SpeciNF's characteristics, noting it as a nightmare-stalking dark assassination machine. It compares the SpeciNF to older virtual echination machines, indicating differences in dash distance and armor. The article discusses the machine's weapons, LW, CW, and RW, and their functionalities, focusing on their guidance and attack patterns. The screenshots show gameplay footage with targeting systems and combat scenarios. There's a section titled, New version 5.4 of SpeciNF, detailing changes in high-speed movement and jump speed, and explaining the tactical use of different weapons. A final section called Virtual On Works Oratan Developers Talking features developers discussing the SpeciNF, mentioning its varied fighting styles, and expressing a desire for players to use it. They also mention the CG for the Papau SpeciNF. This page details how to create a Dreamcast homepage guestbook, essentially providing a tutorial to build your own interactive page. It outlines steps to copy a GBook HTML file and then edit the HTML code. The guide shows you how to insert links using HTML tags and mentions previewing and saving your work. There's a section showcasing example Dreamcast user homepages under the title Example DC Reading Link. It lists various usernames like MF Fuji, Ryutenshi, Joruju, A2Cs, and Kamomeru, along with their GeoCities website addresses and brief descriptions of their content. MF Fuji's homepage is highlighted as a recommended HP homepage, describing it as full of information about Soccer J2 League, Consadole Sapporo, and praised for its layout using table tags.
The page also features details about applying to have your Dreamcast homepage featured, including an application email address and notes on what to include in the email, such as your handle, website address, name, and a description of your page. This page highlights the arcade game Ring Out 4x4, presented by Sega AMR&D Department No. 4 and using the NAOMI arcade board. It's described as a 4-player battle drive action game where you control 4x4 buggies, and the objective is to knock your rivals off a ring-shaped arena. The page emphasizes the game's cabinet development and the expertise of AM4 Research, who are known for other cabinet games like Blast City, Sega Rally 2, and Manx TT. The game is described as having high-level graphics and an exhilarating atmosphere, where players can intuitively enjoy the chaotic action without needing complex strategies. The article includes screenshots of the game in action and the dedicated arcade cabinet, promoting it as a new exciting title from Sega and AM4. This page showcases Ring Out 4x4, a 4-player battle game. The tagline is, "Power to the limit run, survival." The game is described as a battle royal, with up to 4 players on screen simultaneously, using computers or human opponents. The core rule is to use machines to eliminate all players except yourself within the time limit. The page highlights bumper attacks as a key feature, explaining that players can use the car's bumper to attack opponents and knock them out of the ring. It emphasizes the top-down view style, where players view the action from above, controlling their cars, which are always visible on screen. The camera zooms in and out depending on the player's proximity. The last player remaining at the end of the battle wins, and a replay of their victory will be shown. The page details various stage settings for battles, including factory, clock tower, lean bridge, and volcano. Each stage has unique characteristics, such as the factory being an industrial area with obstacles, the clock tower featuring a clock face arena with limited footing, the lean bridge being an under-construction bridge with containers, and volcano being a volcanic stage with lava and obstacles. The text also mentions that battles occur in various situations, with obstacles and ball-like terrain, requiring driving skills to adapt to the terrain. This page showcases the arcade game Ring Out 4x4 for the NAOMI arcade system. The game allows for up to 4 players simultaneously in a dedicated cabinet. The page highlights different game modes, including a countdown mode, where players must survive until the stage is destroyed by bombs dropped from airships if time runs out. It also introduces stage themes like Resort, set on a seaside terrace, and Stone, taking place in ancient ruins. The game features vehicle customization, and different car types are displayed, including Retro Monster, Bravo Racer, Gang Taxi, and Rustic Roadrunner. It details the gameplay mechanic of pushing the steering wheel forward to perform a bumper punch to crash into other cars and force them out of the stage. This page is a manga page for the Dreamcast game Evolution, Eternal Dungeons, originally released in Japan as Shinki Sekai Evolution. This is the 5th episode of the manga, created by Uekusa. The page introduces the main characters, Launcher, Linear Cannon, Grey Naido, and Pepperbox. The manga panels depict a humorous scene where Pepperbox teases a bandaged Grey Naido, possibly for romantic reasons, while Launcher and Linear Cannon observe. Pepperbox requests a secret garden from Grey Naido, likely a suggestive metaphor, causing Linear Cannon to react with annoyance. Launcher seems intrigued by the unfolding events. This page from Sega Saturn Magazine highlights weekly Sega Saturn news and rankings for May 7, 1999. The contents page lists features including reader races, a special project with Ryoko, software reviews, complete guides, and articles on Derby Stallion and Friends. Seishun no Kagayaki. The page features an illustration of cartoonish characters around a Sega Saturn console. The weekly data station section reveals the top 5 most anticipated upcoming games based on user data, led by Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, known internationally as Sonic 3D Blast. The other titles are Was Friends, Seishun no Kagayaki, With You, Mitsumete Itai, and Real Sound, Kaze no Regret. The top-selling Saturn Games chart shows Derby Stallion at number 1, followed by Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 3, Tabidachi no Shi, and Sentimental Graffiti in 3rd place. The Sega Saturn release schedule lists upcoming titles like Friends, Seishun no Kagayaki launching on April 29, 1999, and Professional Mahjong Kiwame Goku in June. Other scheduled games include With You, Mitsumete Itai, Monster Maker, Hollygar Dagger, and Street Fighter Alpha 3, both standard and 4 MB RAM bundled editions.
Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, Real Sound 2, Kaze No Regret, J-League Exciting Stage 98, Was and Laquia Elm are also listed with undecided release dates. The footnotes explain the abbreviations used, mentioning genre details on page 15, 4 MB RAM expansion requirements, and disk set notations. This page showcases the Reader's Race for Sega Saturn games, a popularity ranking based on reader votes, dated April 23. It highlights that 1145 Saturn games have been released to date. The page explains that this corner of the magazine uses reader votes to rank Saturn software out of 10, and publishes the average score. It is mentioned that only games with more than 10 votes are included in the ranking, and the rankings update in real time. It encourages readers to use the rankings as a reference for purchasing games. The top-ranked titles include games like Sakura Wars 2, Shining Force 2i, and Grandia. This page is a review page focusing on the Sega Saturn game Death Crimson, titled Rave Review Wild Horse. It features a large image of the game and a review section called Cool Players Wanted, which suggests the game is not recommended for casual players and might only appeal to hardcore enthusiasts who can appreciate its unique, albeit flawed, qualities. The reviewer mentions the game is set in a hospital and involves shooting down enemies. The graphics are described as polygon-based but with a pixelated dot look. The review humorously notes that even after adjustments, the aiming is still off to the right. There is a section called Check homepage for sequel announcement, which hints at an unofficial announcement for Death Crimson 2 for the Dreamcast on the Ecole Company. Limited homepage. A section Recent Reader Comments includes reader feedback discussing Death Crimson and the anticipation for Death Crimson 2. One comment mentions the horror aspect of Death Crimson 2. On the right side, there's a table titled Aussie Ranking Saturn B, which seems to be a popularity ranking of Sega Saturn software based on reader votes. It lists many game titles with genre and score, but these are not detailed here. Some of the top-ranked games include Pocket Fighter and Idol Janshi Tsuchipai Remix. It's a weekly ranking by Sega Saturn readers. The next page presents the Odds Table Saturn C, which is a ranking list of Sega Saturn games based on reader votes from the magazine. It includes a very long list of games ranked from 420 to 799, with columns for rank, previous rank, game title, genre, and average score. The page is essentially a popularity chart based on reader feedback for Saturn games. This page reflects on the Sega Saturn and the transition to the Dreamcast. It features reader-voted rankings of Saturn games, like Marine Adventure and Yukon River Hockey, and peripherals, including the Virtua Stick Pro. A Voice of a High-Class Owner section includes reader comments, one noting Saturn software's continued appeal. The Saturn reader race is ending soon, coinciding with the Dreamcast's launch. A contest is underway, asking readers to predict the ranking of the new Dreamcast game, Red Line Racer, with a giveaway of a Dreamcast arcade stick and visual memory for 5 winners. Another contest challenges readers to predict the average score of the Dreamcast game, Web Mystery, Prophecy Dreaming Cat, for a game prize. Entries for both contests are submitted via postcard, including points for Saturn/Dreamcast games and predictions. The entry deadline is April 29th. This page delves into the breeding strategies of the Sega Saturn game Derby Stallion, exploring the concept of interesting breeding and its connection to the interesting white system lineage. The page questions if thoughtful breeding is the key to mastering the game's breeding mechanics. It explains the interesting white system as a unique lineage classification that simplifies horse ancestry into 13 categories from A to M, differing from typical sire lines. The page provides a interesting white system check example, explaining that this system is not directly displayed in-game and requires external resources like strategy guides. It gives an example of tracing back lineage, using Sunday silence. Furthermore, the page defines interesting breeding as a breeding method where 5 or 6 ancestors within the 3rd generation, or 4th counting the dam side, belong to the interesting white system, which enhances stamina and linear speed. It contrasts this with splendid breeding, which focuses on improving temperament and conformation, being more suitable for inbreeding strategies. The page visually presents lineage charts and lists of horse names categorized by different bloodlines, such as Darley Arabian, Godolphin Arabian, and Byerly Turk, to illustrate the interesting white system. This page is focused on horse racing game strategy, specifically about horse breeding and lineage in the game. Experiment 1 and 2 explore a breeding concept called considered breeding, and how to identify it by looking at the interesting lineage system. The page concludes that considered breeding is not just about the interesting lineage system. Experiment 2 concludes that for the third generation of the interesting lineage system to be effective, at least 3 bloodlines should be the same, and the bloodlines should be closely related. 2 breeding examples are provided in tables. Example 1 is Tidal Spot X, Ibn Bay Et's Heart of Ocean, and example 2 is Dance Hall X Hamano Frisia, showing specific horse names and lineages used for considered breeding. The page is providing in-depth strategy advice for players who want to master horse breeding in the game. The next page is a strategy guide focused on horse breeding techniques for a horse racing simulation game, likely from the Derby Stallion series popular in Japan. It highlights the utilization of foreign stallions for second-generation breeding. The page presents 4 example breeding strategies using stallions, Pleasant Colony, Rahi, King Mambo, and Diasis. Each example includes horse stats, pedigree information, and breeding advice. The strategies are Nix plus interesting breeding, Nix with Northern Dancer line, cross or outbreed, and Inbreed plus interesting breeding. Each section also suggests specific parrot-horse combinations to achieve the described breeding strategy. This page is a strategy guide on horse breeding for a horse racing game, likely for Sega Saturn given the Saturn text at the top. The guide focuses on second-generation breeding to efficiently create strong racehorses. It details a 3-step approach. 1. Selecting a second-generation sire. Choose a sire based on desired traits and breeding compatibility, listing horse names like Danzig, Sadler's Wells, Stormcat, and Woodman with their price. 2. Selecting a first-generation sire to pair with the second-generation sire. This step refines the breeding strategy by considering bloodlines and compatibility, again listing horse names like Rainbow Quest and Red God. 3. Choosing broodmares based on their lineage. Broodmares should complement the sire's lineage, focusing on interesting lineage. The page provides advice on outbreeding and inbreeding techniques, detailing the benefits of each. Outbreeding aims for hybrid vigor and stronger parameters, while inbreeding is used to enhance specific traits. It gives specific breeding examples using horses like Woodman and Stormcat, suggesting combinations for desirable offspring, focusing on aspects like Narrated Dancer Cross and Bold Ruler Cross. The guide emphasizes understanding lineage and bloodlines to maximize breeding success for producing high-level racehorses. Screenshots show horse profiles with stats and lineage information, and in-game interfaces related to horse breeding and selection. This page is a guide for the Sega Saturn dating sim game, Friends, Seishun no Kagayaki, which translates to Friends, the Glow of Youth. It's presented as a strategy guide and focuses on how to efficiently meet and interact with the girls in the game within the limited in-game time. The page explains the game is about a reunion of middle school tennis club members at a mountain villa over 7 days. The point is to deepen your relationships with the characters. It mentions that in-game time progresses as you move around locations and that meeting the target girl is key. There's advice on how to navigate the map and time to efficiently meet the girls. The guide highlights the importance of dialogue choices during conversations with the girls and that making good choices is crucial to raise their affection level. Event scenes occur when moving locations, particularly the first meeting event with Murata Miyuki. The guide also gives 1-point advice for days 1 to 4, suggesting to efficiently move around, talk to people, and check for events. Day 2 mentions encountering Makoto and Fujio in the afternoon, advising to talk to them. Day 4 points out that actions are possible until 11 p.m. and mentions a test of courage event at night involving eye patch selection quizzes. The screenshots show in-game scenes, including map navigation, dialogue choices, and event scenes featuring various characters. This page shows a schedule of actions for characters from the 1st to the 4th day. It seems to be a guide for the game Sentimental Graffiti 2. The table lists the planned locations for each character, including Kobayakawa Mizuho, Akiyama Midori, Kano Makoto, Ogata Shizuka, Saeki Natsuko, Aoki Momoko, Murata Miyuki, and Wakabayashi Ayu at different times between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. Locations mentioned are various places such as Playroom, Entrance, Pension Front, Bridge, Swan Lake, Church, Tennis Court, Eagle Nest, Ranch,
station, art museum, cafe, backyard, fantasyland, shrine, game center, dining hall, Natsuko's room, and Kazaguruma. This page is likely designed to help players understand character movements and plan their interactions within the game. Sentimental Graffiti 2. This page is a strategy guide chart outlining the locations of different female characters in a game across several in-game days and times. The chart is designed to help players find specific characters at certain times to trigger events. It lists characters like Mizuho Kogawa, Midori Akiyama, Makoto Kano, Shizuka Ogata, Natsuko Saeki, Momoko Aoki, Miyuki Murata, and Ayu Wakabayashi. For each character and day, locations are given for time slots from 1600 to 2300, including places like Swan Lake, church, bridge, art museum, their rooms, cafe, fantasyland, windmill, backyard, station, playroom, tennis court, ranch, shrine, game center, pension, dining hall, and eagle nest. A circle symbol next to a location indicates that a conversation choice will occur at that spot. It seems to be a guide for a dating simulation or visual novel-style game, likely for the Sega Saturn given the magazine title at the top of the page. This page is a feature dedicated to Ryoko Inoue from the Roommate series and includes an interview with her voice actress, Tomoko Fujino. It's titled Ryoko's Chat Room and is part of a special project commemorating the release of something roommate-related, likely a fan disc. The page highlights a hot interview where they delve into the charm of both Ryoko Inoue and Tomoko Fujino. There's a screenshot from a roommate game, possibly Roommate 3, showing a menu with options related to a memory album where players can view CG images by answering quizzes and earning points, emphasizing the importance of understanding the character. Tomoko Fujino's profile is featured, mentioning her birthday as May 30, 1976, her hobbies, special skills, and main works, which include voice acting roles in the Police Academy and Sister Act movie series, as well as the Dreamcast game Mizumete Night, and the anime Mamate Shugo Getten. The interview itself covers Fujino's start in voice acting around 5th grade, after listening to radio dramas, her experience playing Ryoko Inoue as her first main role in voice acting, and her feelings about the character. She mentioned struggling with the first roommate game and experiencing a slump, but found a more relaxed approach from the second game onwards. She also recounts a fan telling her she has a comfortable voice, and humorously admits to falling asleep while listening to her own voice recording. This page features an interview with voice actresses Ryoko Inoue and Tomoko Fujino about their work on the game Roommate. Inoue discusses how she adjusted her voice acting style to portray her character more naturally, enjoys voicing characters unlike herself, and finds emotional delivery rewarding. Fujino emphasizes the importance of conveying emotion even in simple lines, and enjoys love simulation games, sometimes taking a male perspective. The page also includes a discography section, listing various CDs associated with the Roommate series. These include theme songs, radio dramas, soundtracks, vocal collections featuring Inoue, and telephone call recordings, offering a range of audio content related to the game. This page is an interview with Tomoko Fujino. She talks about her love for pandas and mentions that she is currently obsessed with them. She describes how much she likes panda merchandise and even carries panda goods with her. Tomoko also talks about her view on love, saying she has always avoided it since she was little, but has experienced it and understands it. However, she doesn't consciously think about it and believes it comes suddenly. She also mentions that she feels happy when people say nice things to her. There is a section mentioning a CD present for readers of the magazine. To apply for the CD, readers need to write their thoughts about Tomoko Fujino on a postcard, including their address, name, age, and occupation, and send it to the address provided. The CD is titled Aita Kata CW Birthday Song. There is a section titled Message from Notice Board DATAM Polystar, which is likely a reader's message. It mentions that when Tomoko is depressed, they also feel down, and when she is cheerful, they feel cheerful too. The message expresses support for Tomoko and asks readers to support her. This page reviews 4 Saturn games. Friends Youthful Radiance, a romance adventure, receives a 6.6610 for its story of reuniting with classmates, but struggles with character closeness. Ryoko's Chat Room, a fan disc for the Idol Janshi Suchi Pai series, earns a perfect 10 out of 10 for offering fans additional content with Ryoko. With You, I Want to Gaze at You, a remake with new scenarios, caters to fans seeking immersion with its love story, and Street Fighter Alpha 3 Inches, Street Fighter Zero 3 inches, brings arcade action home. While praised for its two-player battles and the ISM system, the home version story mode is noted as repetitive, resulting in an 8/10. The reviews are provided by Deguchi Kaori, Sugimoto Sui, and Suje, offering varied perspectives.
This page features previews of upcoming games and articles on gaming-related topics. Onimusha, Warlords, a new action title for PlayStation from Capcom, is showcased, with sword-based combat and a Resident Evil-style system. The game is produced by Keiji Inafune and includes samurai-style action. A Power Stone section highlights stage trap strategies, featuring planner Kiyomizu Kenji, and advice for players. Finally, Shiki Autumn's Monster Story 8th Night explores vampire lore, examining female and male vampires, referencing Darkstalkers and Dracula, and drawing connections to blood drinking, sexuality, and characters from the novel. Capcom's Noritaka Funamizu discusses Dreamcast's strong reception at Tokyo Game Show, particularly for titles like Code Veronica and Dino Crisis. He highlights the positive reaction and higher-than-expected purchase intent for Dreamcast games. The interview centers on SNK vs. Capcom, initially announced for Neo Geo Pocket Color, with a potential Dreamcast port under consideration, in collaboration with SNK. Fan demand for Street Fighter II Third Strike on Dreamcast is acknowledged, with Capcom exploring innovative features for the port utilizing the Zero 3 system, recognizing the Dreamcast's capabilities. Funamizu aims for a high-quality Street Fighter II Third Strike port, emphasizing the positive Capcom-SNK relationship and the excitement surrounding SNK vs. Capcom. Games like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future, Power Stone, and Soul Calibur were also showcased. This page is all about the arcade release of Street Fighter II Third Strike, highlighting how it differs from previous versions. They're warning players to be mindful of command changes, especially for throws and leap attacks which might throw off veterans. The article discusses other system changes too, emphasizing that while core mechanics from Second Impact are present, there are key differences to be aware of. Character introductions are a focus, with Remy, who's unusual in the Street Fighter II series, for having many charge input special moves. Chun-Li makes her series debut, with familiar special moves but revamped, powerful leg techniques, making her feel fresh. 12 is another unique character, feeling similar to Necro, with Protean abilities and special normal moves, and even possessing an air dash. Gameplay tips include using super cancels for mid-level special moves, and it's mentioned that even returning characters have seen many changes, from minor techniques up to super arts. Overall, it's a heads-up for players to expect a refined and changed experience in Third Strike. This page is from Crazy Taxi 2, Volume 3, focusing on the parking area navigation. The article features commentary from characters Ganana and Gus, offering players tips for this location. The parking area is described as a key spot for drifting and jumping, and players are advised to utilize drift techniques around the corners. It is mentioned that picking up a customer waiting at the exit of the parking area is a good strategy for longer fares. The page includes a map highlighting locations such as Kentucky Fried Chicken, Tower Records, Levi's Store, and Phyla, alongside screenshots demonstrating gameplay within the parking area and showcasing drifting maneuvers. Gina and Gus provide in-game advice, discussing the best routes, drift techniques, and customer pickup strategies within the parking area. This page is about the Dreamcast game Rush Hill 2049 and highlights a reverse mode. Jarina explains that to activate this mode, during character selection, you need to put the gear in reverse and press the start button. She mentions it's a more challenging mode compared to the standard game. The page also features location-based tips for the game, with Gus giving advice on navigating KFC, church, and heliport areas. For KFC, the left route is easier but watch out for oncoming traffic, while the right route is winding and good for drifting. At the church, going straight is fastest, but drifting for combos is fun if you have time, and there are flowers at the entrance. At the heliport, drift at the top of the hill and jump for a cool stop. Finally, the page introduces spectators you'll encounter in the game. These include Dan, a university student studying economics interested in fashion; Father White, a pastor at the Hill of Prayer Church; Bull, a mechanic who loves gray import cars; and Candy, who works part-time at a seaside market and loves surfing. This page is an official strategy guide from Sega AMR&D Department No. 1 for the game Zombie Revenge, which is known internationally as Dynamite Cop 2. It's a guide to Area 1 MT Sacrifice AM307. The page highlights key points for players in this area, starting with being careful of poison gas zombies that appear early on and can poison you,
suggesting to dash attack them. Another tip is to watch out for zombies coming from burning huts, and to use guard attacks in those tight spaces. The guide points out weapon storage areas where you can choose weapons, suggesting that you can hold up to 3 weapons. It specifically recommends taking grenades and landmines, especially for boss fights. The page includes screenshots demonstrating gameplay scenarios and weapon selection screens. This page is about boss strategies for a game featuring a boss called UDSTP-200, described as being like a zombie or robot. It details how to defeat this boss, highlighting its attack patterns like missiles and dash attacks, suggesting players should use dash attacks to counter and exploit openings after its attacks. The page recommends attacking from behind with single punches and to dash away when the boss crouches to avoid a counterattack. It also mentions picking up life and grenades to help in the fight. After defeating the first form UDSTP-200, a second boss form UDSTP-201 appears from the chest of the first boss. This second form is considered the real boss and is vulnerable to grenades and landmines, which can defeat it quickly. The page advises focusing attacks on this second form and to use the same strategies as before to avoid missile and dash attacks from both bosses during this phase. The game appears to be an action game, with challenging boss battles requiring strategic play. The next page is an advertisement for a Sega Magazine annual subscription. It highlights that the magazine, usually distributed for free at Sega amusement facilities, can now be reliably obtained through subscription because it often runs out of stock. Subscribers also receive special bonuses, including a real Sega Magazine provisional section, exclusive postcards, Joyopolis free admission tickets twice a year, participation in a Tuputsuya exchange program, and a chance to win a Dreamcast or DC game software. The subscription for 6 issues per year is priced at 3,000 yen. The page also advertises Shenmue original goods available for mail order, mug cups and mouse pads, each priced at 800 yen and 600 yen respectively, plus a separate 650 yen shipping fee. Contact details are provided for subscription inquiries and merchandise orders, along with instructions on how to subscribe via postal transfer, cash-registered mail, or bank transfer, and a subscription application form to be filled out and sent in. This page is the weekly Dreamcastrology section from Dreamcast Magazine, covering the horoscope period from April 23rd to April 29th. It provides a weekly fortune forecast for each zodiac sign, Aries through Pisces, with sections for overall luck, money luck, health luck, love luck, and work luck, rated as very good, good, normal, or bad. Each zodiac sign also has advice and a lucky color listed, along with separate cartoon illustrations and brief messages tailored for boys and girls. This week's lucky sign features Xianghua from Soul Calibur, mentioning her birthday is April 23rd, and she is a Taurus. The horoscope suggests that instead of staying home, it's better to go out and enjoy yourself, recommending karaoke. This page is a special reader's present page from Dreamcast Magazine announcing a giveaway. There are 4 prize categories. First, 20 winners will receive their choice of any Dreamcast game released by May 7, 1999. Second, 3 winners will receive a Popni music set from Konami, including a poster, the game software, and a dedicated controller. Third, 1 winner will get a Black Matrix Teleca set from NEC Interchannel. Finally, 1 lucky winner will receive a Kiss Yori desk clock. The page also previews the contents of the next issue of Dreamcast Magazine, Volume 16, releasing on April 30th. It highlights special features, including a behind-the-scenes look at Deep Fear, the latest information on Shenmue, and a scoop on the new game Day Crimson 2, which is actually Crimson Tears. Other game news in the next issue includes Dynamite Cop 2, D2, Space Griffin, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 0079, Rise from the Ashes, and Toucan Retsuden 4. There will also be a special interview with Yu Suzuki and Hiroko Suzuki, voice actor for Shenfa in Shenmue. This page is an advertisement for a horse racing game or service on the Dreamcast titled Favorite Horse Arrives. The advert emphasizes the Dreamcast's online functionality, allowing players to download the latest horse racing news and past performance data. It is a special tie-up with the Kanto Horse Racing Newspaper Association and the digital horse racing newspaper Fight Rackman. The page showcases logos from various horse racing publications and lists features of the service, such as data from major newspapers, expert predictions, training information, and odds payouts. The product is advertised as being currently on sale at major toy stores, game shops, department stores, and convenience stores. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Shutoko Battle, Highway Battle, developed by Genki and slated for release in May 1999. The ad mentions the standard price of 5,800 yen before tax and provides company details for Genki, including their address, phone number for user support, and website. The tagline on the page emphasizes the large volume introduction of new titles.